everyone. Welcome back to Comic Book Late Night Unlimited. It is I, Captain Logan, and joining me as always is my co-host Chris. And we're back to do this thing once again. We're going to talk about comics coming out tomorrow. We're going to talk about comics we bought last week. Chris actually brought a bag with things in it.
I know, right? Yeah.
It's so exciting. It looks like that bag has been around a while. I mean, you've seen better days.
Yeah, look, it's been a rough week.
Did you just get that?
No, I mean, not today. So, I mean...
If that bag is less than a month old, I'll be very impressed with the horrible condition it's in.
I mean, these comics have been around. They've been in transit for like the last week, too.
I asked you last week why you rolled your car over something, and now I'm really wondering about it. I think it's like a regular thing with you.
You gotta age it, too. You gotta make sure it's for the CGC. You gotta make sure it's flat. The binding's flat. Yeah.
I got you.
You gotta send this in with a big tire track on it. It's like, give me a 9.8.
Well, anyway, I've got a few things from last week to talk about, but not as big of a week as this week will be. There's quite a bit coming out tomorrow, and I'm on the fence about a couple things I was planning on buying because I'm like, I can tell my pull list is starting to get a little bit hefty. I'm like, I think I'm buying a little bit too much. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to scale back a little bit or if I'm going to keep plowing forward.
It adds up real fast, too. I mean,
especially with some of these new events for like Absolute Evil started. And I'm probably and I bought the first issue of that. I'm probably buying all of those, and then KO starts tomorrow. And
Absolute Evil, it was a judgment call too, where it's like, all right, I've already spent more than I've really budgeted, so I'll wait on this. I'll just see how it plays out, and then like Absolute Evil hit like a shot too, hit with a bang, and all of a sudden, I'm sorry, who died? What's up?
Yeah.
It's funny too, because the spoilers start in the shop too, because where I was buying this stuff, the cashier would say like, yeah, so you read this all right? Yeah, there's one bit I'm not gonna spoil, but somebody dies. So,
yeah. See, never say that.
Sorry.
see, I don't like that because I feel like that's already too spoilery.
Right.
Where it's like, well, the moment that you see a certain character that's introduced, you're gonna know that's who it is.
Exactly.
Like, don't do that.
Yeah. That was at the shop too. The cashier was saying that.
That's crazy. Well, once again, I'm hoping that we're not having some kind of weird tech issues or something. I went and checked to make sure that we were full on broadcasting, and we seem to be, but nobody's here right now, which is really unusual. Like it keeps jumping between 1 and 0. We usually have at least a dozen at the start of the show.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe people are just busy, but this is very unusual for us.
It really is. I mean, look, it's October 7th.
It's a big night.
Yeah, it's big. It is.
So I don't know. We will make our show. You can watch it after the fact.
Exactly.
I don't know what's going on right now.
Just know that we're having a good time.
Yeah, that's what is really important.
Exactly.
But Chris, did you come up with a backup idea for what we should review next week?
I'm still thinking about this too.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to let you pick it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because here's the thing too. We've
exhausted the couple I was really hoping to do.
Yeah, because we got Void Rivals. We obviously got Radiant Black too, and those are both really good. So, I mean, do we go the opposite direction? Is there something we really don't want to read that we just have like that morbid curiosity over? So,
yeah, we could go that direction. Although
we could not do that too.
I don't love the idea of doing that after what we're doing tonight, because I had no interest in this Poison Ivy book,
really,
and got stuck having to read that. So I can't get real excited about having to do something that I already don't want to read next time.
That's entirely fair.
You know what? Okay. If I'm going to throw my hat in the ring with this, if you don't already have an idea, or if you're between some stuff, I'm still going to let you pick it. Okay. But what I would probably throw in, if it's far enough, well, it might not be far enough along, actually. So what I was going to say is I would split the middle.
Okay.
I haven't been buying the new Supergirl book because I can't get real excited about the covers are cool.
Yeah.
But then I look inside with the interiors and just the like situation and status quo of what it looks like. I can't get excited about.
Right.
But so I don't know if that's a good book or not.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't think it's far enough along.
Is that Tom King? Is that Tom King?
Huh.
trying to, because I know he was on Supergirl.
No. He just did Woman of Tomorrow. He didn't have.
Okay. So that's what I was thinking.
He didn't have. It's the more second tier. So I forget who's writing that, but. Anyway, let's go ahead and start looking at what's coming out tomorrow, and we'll figure out what our review for next week will be right at the end of the show. So we've got, like I said, it's just a big week, a bunch of stuff. Absolutely, Batman 13, so we finally get to see what the crazy Catwoman dome head is all about. And I'm sure we'll get more into Bruce's friends turned villains in that issue. And last week, Austin and I talked about this, and I was really turned around pretty totally on the pretty totally. That was a great phrase.
Pretty totally.
On the so many of the villains turning villains pretty quickly. And Austin was real turned off to it.
Really?
And we had complete opposite opinions on it. And he was about ready to maybe, an issue or two after this dropped the book. And I'm like real all in with it. So it's kind of interesting where we're sitting at it because that is still toward the top for me, and it's always been toward the bottom for Austin. But I still really like that book a lot. I think Wonder Woman is the better book, but it's just under it for me. Well, and Superman is the one that I've lost interest in.
Yeah, I mean, Superman was the one that I never really. It's not that I disliked it. It's just out of the big three. That was the one that I kind of gravitated towards the least too, and I'm behind on literally everything. So
I'm not caught up on any Absolute except for Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the one that I've made sure to keep buying week to week since I got into Absolute.
Right.
So I bought starting with I think 8 or 9. No, I think 8.
Yeah.
And then I've gone back and I've started buying up the earlier issues in later printings.
Yeah.
I might at some point get the first printings of some of those, but my comic shop got and I guess they put these everywhere, but they got new printings for the first 6 issues.
Yeah.
So I've been week to week just buying the next one.
Right.
So I've got 1 and 2, and I might have bought 3. I can't remember, but anyway, also starting tomorrow is Kirkman's new run on Transformers, which is real exciting, and that's one of the books that I'm kind of on the fence about just because I have too much on my pull. I bought 24 because it's the last issue of the previous run, and it might be sort of worth something later, but also I love those covers and I love that book, and I've decided to go ahead and go backwards and buy something. So I have maybe 5 or 6 issues of it now. I've been finding them for half cover here and there. But anyway, if I buy that, I'm not going to be able to read it yet. Austin and I are going to finish the previous run in an upcoming comic vault, and he said I think he suggested that we just go ahead and knock all of it out in one, so it'd be 12 issues we have to read, which we don't usually do, but he said there's not a clean break off where you'd want to talk about it in 6 and 6. He said we'll just do all of it, but then that'll catch me up, and then I can start actually reading it month to month.
Was that what you did with Watchmen too, where you just read the whole thing?
Well, anytime we do a maxi like that, you always do all of it. If it's got if it's a complete arc that's 12 issues. But if it's that's just one book. That's basically a graphic novel that's just long. But if it keeps going, you do it in 6. Most of the time, or wherever the cutoffs clear cutoffs are for story arcs, right? So sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 6, and sometimes it's Bendis where you just have to pick a spot.
Depending on exactly.
And Ultimate Spider-Man is all in the middle of that, the original Ultimate Spider-Man with Bendis, where there are some clear story arcs, and there's other places where a trade will just pick a spot. Because it's not obvious where that happens. And then tomorrow we've got, of course, like I said a minute ago, DCKO begins. I did read the prelude to KO. Remember this thing?
I do, yes.
Where we could not decide at first what the hell this was because it has such a long title.
Yeah, exactly.
Prelude to DCKO, Justice League Omega Act Special. I did in fact read this, and it does what it says it's going to do. up here.
Right.
If you notice the fine print, it's very strange. Now, in their defense, this is as much a wrap-up of a lot of things going on in both Justice League and Superman, it turns out, as it is a prelude to KO. So it feels kind of old school because I feel like both DC and Marvel for a long time haven't had their ducks in a row the way they used to, in continuity and in tying things together, and one end of a big event leads into the next big thing you're doing. This feels like DC 12, 15 years ago, which I really appreciated. Where it feels like the culmination of a lot of things they've been doing that then build into the thing that Snyder is doing. And it feels like he doesn't come up with that idea in a vacuum, because it's so connected to the death of Darkseid and everything they've been doing with that. So this whole Omega idea is not new. They've been building this apparently in Justice League. Now, I haven't read any of that stuff. So this was a good catch-up for me. I did see some people complaining that this is real pointless and wholly skippable, but I don't know that it wasn't to me, because it caught me up. Like, it probably reads like pointless recapping and back matter if you've been keeping up, especially with Superman and Justice League. So I will say, if you've been reading Justice League and Superman recently, both of them, like you've been reading the Williamson stuff with Superman, you probably could skip this. I imagine, unless you just
you're just a completionist too.
Well, I was going to say a completionist, and if you really like Doomsday and Death of Superman, but I'll talk about that a little bit more later on. So I'm real curious about KO, of course. It looks like a lot of fun, although the previews they keep printing with the few pages from the first issue, I can't decide how I feel about the layouts and the... Have you seen those?
I haven't seen a whole lot of them.
In the back of some of the books. Well, it's only been the one they keep printing. I just don't know if you've seen it. But
I don't think so. I think the stuff I got was mostly like the prelude too. That, if I remember right.
Oh, okay. So you kept seeing this.
I kept seeing that.
Yeah. That was in the back of some stuff. Yeah. That's in the back of Batman 2. And I don't remember if Absolute Evil had something, but that's in the back of Batman 2.
So yeah, so that's why I saw it, at least. So I'll have to like find a book with this in it too.
My hope is that bag is completely fallen apart by the end of the show.
That is a goal, and that might very well happen actually too.
I don't think you have to try. I really don't.
It's already like the back's already half off, dude.
You know what I wish?
What?
I wish this is what the prop bag had looked like in that back alley scene that we did for the movie, where you were getting your DC versus Marvel in the back alley. I wish we had kind of roughed one up a little bit.
Yeah.
That was too pristine.
Well, look, Diamond takes care of his product too. Let's see. The reviewer obviously has a reputation uphold.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Right.
But anyway...
I'm mad at myself, too, because I'll have to do this next week. I'll have to bring my amalgam cards, too.
Oh, please. Did you find them?
I know where they are.
Oh,
I haven't, like...
Okay. Well, you told me you weren't totally sure where they were.
I think... I know the room they're in, and I know they're in a binder, so... At that point, I know the rough location within the room, so...
He can go to the room where it happened.
Go to the room where it happened. Not throw away my shot.
I can't wait to see those.
Yeah.
And to see if you jog some memory where I'm more familiar with those than I think I am.
Yeah.
But anyway, with KO, it just has a certainly eye-catching and unusual kind of like lettering style.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if I want to read that for 5 issues.
Right.
Now, it also might not be all the way through like that.
Yeah.
But it's got just this really kind of edgy, jagged, like punchy in the face kind of style, which makes sense thematically for what the thing is.
Yeah. But you gotta read it too.
But yeah, it's gotta be readable enough. Yeah. You don't want it to feel like shards of glass in your eye.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So we'll see what that's actually like past those 3 or 4 pages they printed.
Yeah.
But anyway, what else is going on tomorrow? I'll check here in a minute and see if anybody is actually watching the show and has comments. Yeah. Ultimate Black Panther, if anybody's reading that. Batman and Robin 26 is tomorrow. Finally, after lengthy delays, I do believe Last Halloween #9 is coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And I jumped back into new way too late to get started on this. So I don't know if I'm just going to read this digital or buy it trade or try to get the singles later. I would assume that first issue is probably harder to get your hands on and probably more valuable at this point.
Probably,
because that has been heralded as actually really good so far.
Huh.
It is Jeff Loeb, so I don't know if he'll stick the landing because he so rarely does. And it's also a thing that I wouldn't have thought anybody would want after Sale died, but I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Really?
Yeah, it's been the antithesis to Hush 2.
Yeah.
Where, like, people have been buying Hush 2 but not liking it, and it just feels like this obligatory thing for people. I've not bothered with that.
No.
And that one I came to late on also, but I probably would have skipped.
Right.
Anyway.
Here's the thing. I got curious about Hush 2. Like, I read part of the first issue. Like, that's enough. I'm good.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Last Halloween I would have tried.
Yeah.
I would have at least tried that. Avengers 35 is tomorrow. Curious to have anything with Kang right now.
I know, right? Yeah.
I mean, I realized that he is, a popular Avengers villain.
Yeah,
but I just think it's funny that you're. Sorry, I just think it's funny that you're doing that a year out from what was supposed to be Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
And then you've got all these other things that have been either a little too early or a little too late in having synergy and kismet with the film side of things.
Yeah.
With extra media. And then, we talk all the time about how these things have just been kind of either advertisement for or proving ground for what they're thinking about doing in the MCU. And then you see stuff like this and you're like, I don't know what the strategy is.
Yeah.
And maybe with that there isn't one and somebody just wanted to do Kang. But Marvel doesn't feel like, for the most part, anybody is really excited about characters. They're just... it just all feels kind of obligatory, or it feels like mash a bunch of stuff together.
Yeah. And
by the way, speaking of mashing a bunch of stuff together, because I've been complaining about this forever.
Right.
We're gonna have the perfect prime example of this later in a piece of news I'm gonna bring up.
Oh, really?
You just wait.
I am excited already.
Have you heard about this yet?
I don't. Maybe.
All I'll say is there's a new villain that is a mashup of two characters. Okay. Have you heard about this yet? That's in
It sounds just familiar enough. I'm not sure. It was
just announced like last week.
Yeah, I probably heard it and then forgot because
I'm not going to tell you yet.
That's why I do in most things. I just forget.
So again, I've got way too much going on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Dark Patterns is tomorrow, but that's the penultimate issue, so I'm not gonna have to buy any more of those here after a couple more. Although I wish they would extend it.
Yeah.
I wish that series would keep going.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it too, just from what I've read.
And I've still only read the first arc, but I loved it, and everybody that I've talked to that's read that book really likes it, and it comes up all the time as the must-read great Batman thing happening apart from Absolute.
Yeah.
And I hope that writer Waters gets to come back and do more of that kind of thing, even if it isn't that. Maybe they'll do like a Dark Patterns 2 down the road. Maybe they'll take a break from it and come back. I don't know, but that concept you could do forever.
Oh, exactly.
There's no reason that couldn't. And I know I keep saying this that it reads like the new Legends of the Dark Knight.
I can see that.
That book went for like 170 issues or something. There's no, or 150, whatever it was. It went for a long time.
Yeah.
There's no reason this couldn't be a 60, 70, 100 issue book.
Yeah, exactly.
Run. And then Kryptonite Spectrum is tomorrow. You've got to get on that at some point.
I just finished the first issue like literally today.
Oh, did you really?
Good. I had it and I
Isn't it great?
Like, it's good. Yeah, no. I was reading it and it's like, this is so good. It's funny because again, it was on my list. I knew I wanted to, and then I got into reading it, and I loved that first issue. What they did with the purple kryptonite and how they did it like structurally, where they had little flashbacks, flash forwards. Like, all right,
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
and it's just super, super creative.
Yeah.
Sorry, this thing is broken down on me once again.
technology today.
We just can't have good things.
I know, right?
We can't have nice things. Okay, Spider-Man Wolverine is tomorrow. That'll come up again later. Supergirl number 6 is tomorrow. Yeah, so maybe that after 6,
right?
That has a full arc. That we could maybe do if we wanted to. Because I was thinking it was only on 4 or 5. We could do that.
Okay. Who's the writer of that too? Just what's the creative team?
That is, I should know this off the top of my head, and I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It's Sophie Campbell.
I know you're not a big Sophie Campbell guy.
I'm less inclined, actually.
I know you're not a big Sophie Campbell guy.
No, I'm not. Okay, I might rethink that. I mean, I'm not totally against reading it if somebody wanted us to. But now I don't know if I'm gonna pick it.
Right.
That's just my experience with that writer.
Yeah.
It's just a personal bias thing. I don't like what happened with Ninja Turtles. So
yeah.
If I hear brilliant things, I'll check it out. But that will probably not be my pick now for next week just because of that.
Yeah. I did read Glory when that came out too, the Rob Liefeld reboot.
Yeah,
because that was back when that point Image where they started doing like all these really weird, interesting takes.
I actually have a couple issues of that. Well, because when that was, what does that have to do with this though?
Oh, that was also Sophie Campbell.
Was it really?
It was. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was like her first real. I mean, she'd done stuff before, but that was like her first kind of real big breakout. And then there was I want to say
I liked what little I read of that, but okay.
And then there was that same. Oh, there's like Prophet, I think was the other one too, that they did it as like a heavy metal book, as like a Mobius book. So
interesting.
Yeah.
People at the time were calling that the closest thing to good Wonder Woman we were getting.
I could see that.
I kept hearing that.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man Torn #1. It's kind of a cool cover.
Yeah.
I like how classic and kind of early 90s that is.
And they're doing the
and more JMS. So much JMS going on right now.
Yeah.
With Marvel, which I can't get super excited about because the one thing I tried with him I didn't care for.
What was that?
I can't remember. There was something he wrote a couple of like a month ago that I tried out, and it was some Spider-Man thing, and I was like, this is not great.
Yeah.
And I love JMS, but I don't know if editorial's holding him back or if he's just in like. I hate to say this, but like late stage in his career where just his writing at the moment's not as good, or he's kind of phoning stuff in because it's paying the bills, but it's not what he really wants to be doing, or he's working on something on his own that he cares more about, and then this stuff he's just doing on a cocktail napkin.
Bringing back Joe's comics. Bringing back Joe's comics.
No shade, no disrespect. It's Straczynski. I love him, but also. I've always been mixed on his Spider-Man run.
Yeah.
So
there were a lot of highs and lows in that run.
The writing is great, and like One More Day notwithstanding, we all know that wasn't his fault. But like the writing is really good, but I never liked the basic premise of it.
Yeah.
And the Spider Totem thing has ruined everything.
Yeah.
And speaking of, we've got Spider-Man 94 tomorrow, which I will continue buying, even though I wasn't in love with that first issue. Yeah. I liked it a little bit better than a lot of other people seemed to. But yes, I'm still lukewarm on it. And it's only 4 or 5 issues, and the covers are cool.
Yeah.
So for me, collection-wise, it's worth having.
Right.
Even if the actual story and the interiors are kind of bad. But I also kind of want to... I mean, I guess I could review it later in digital, but I kind of want to keep talking about it. Like, even if it ends up being bad.
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about what's working and what's not in it.
Yeah.
Just because that was the thing I was looking forward to.
Well, especially since, like, that Spider-Man cartoon, at least for like guys our age too, that was our jam. That was like our one big thing.
And it was my introduction to Spider-Man.
Really?
That was my Spider-Man. Yeah, absolutely. I've always talked about this, but I came to Spider-Man pretty late in childhood.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even know who that character was till I was like 10.
Right.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. I didn't even know how that ended up happening. I knew so little Marvel stuff. That I mean, like maybe tangentially, like I saw him and stuff, but I just didn't pay any attention. So I always thought Spider-Man was, until I started reading it, was supposed to be a scarier character than he is.
Well, especially
because I was seeing more McFarlane art than anything, and he looks so gnarly with the crazy eyes.
I know.
And he's got almost like deformed.
And we've all seen that poster that was at like every Walmart too, every like poster section where it's that the #1 cover too.
Yeah.
Where it's him in the cobwebs, say he's in like that weird. Because I know.
Yeah, of course.
Part of like the whole
He's
thing
all contorted.
And I know that was on purpose too. Like McFarlane wanted to bring out the spider more than the man, and
but I was also always seeing it with like melancholy kinds of settings where like, it was always really rainy and it was really moody and it just looked like more of a Batman comic than a Spider-Man comic.
Well, especially like back in like the early like Clone Saga days too, where you had like grim and gritty Spider-Man who had like his own Arkham basically.
No, Braden, the thing I was talking about earlier wasn't Spider-Man 94. That's actually what we're talking about right now, but that was not JMS. But easy to get that confused because it's adapting JMS's stuff. Green Lantern Corps #9 is tomorrow. I just brought this up because the cover looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that right now, but I keep hearing good things about Green Lantern. So mentioning that Aquaman 10 is tomorrow. I didn't even know there was an Aquaman book going on right now.
Right?
So Marvel is about to start a big Punisher push. And this might be the first big thing they're doing with that. Marvel Knights Punisher #1 is tomorrow. Eddie Brock Carnage is tomorrow. And you know what's funny is I keep saying I have no interest in that because I think just Eddie Brock becoming Carnage is the dumbest idea.
Yeah.
And then I talked to a guy at the comic shop a couple weeks ago that was talking about how good it is. And I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
And some of I forget what exactly he brought up, but some of the relationship he was describing with like how Eddie Brock is changing the Carnage symbiote is kind of interesting. But I still just don't buy that they would even be compatible at all in the first place. And so like that's another thing that that's probably the epitome of what you're talking about. A thing that like I'm curious about, but think is a bad idea and like kind of don't want to read.
Right.
Maybe that's the thing.
Maybe
that's the thing. It's like I don't want to buy it. I'll read it in digital.
Yeah, exactly. I'll read it on the app too. Well, you know, it's funny because
they're on 9, so we could do the first 5 or 6.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's funny, too, because, like, recently I've heard about, like, the Al Ewing Venom series, how they've been doing some interesting stuff with Mary Jane and the symbiote and, like, her understanding, like, why Peter is... So, But
every time I crack one open, it looks awful.
I mean, yeah, that's...
The art looks bad. I don't...
Yeah, I'm not going to defend the art of that book, but, like, But I'm just saying, it's possible, too, that you could end... This happens in comics all the time too, where you have like a bad idea, but then you like work your way through it. It's like, all right, we've got this. Let's figure it out.
But just how often have we had that with Marvel lately? Is the thing like more because I've always said you can make anything work. You just have to make it work. But that hasn't been what Marvel's been about.
No,
they've been coasting on novel, ridiculous concepts.
Yeah. So it's possible that like maybe somebody was like, hey, maybe we should try Marvel Comics 2025. Maybe we should try.
But after all of that, if we don't get much of an audience tonight, and we don't have super chats, and if you are watching live right now and you want to pick what we review for next week,
save us from ourselves.
Throw us a super chat, and if you're the top super chatter, you get to pick what it is. It's just got to be something we haven't sampled yet from the last 3 to 4 years. But you know what? I'm going to take the plunge. I'm going to take the morbid curious plunge. If I pick it, it's going to be Eddie Brock Carnage. I'll try it out.
Yeah.
Based on that guy's recommendation.
Wish us luck.
And understand, my standard is in the toilet with this because I think it's the worst idea ever. I don't even want to read it.
Yeah.
But I'll do it for the show. I'll do it for you. I am curious enough. Now, if it weren't for the conversation I had with that guy, I probably wouldn't be suggesting this. Right. But I'm a little bit more curious, even though I still don't see the inevitability where I'm liking that book.
Yeah.
I would be shocked, but I'll try it.
Sometimes,
if you think of something else, I'll let you pick.
Yeah, still. If I think of something else too,
I will let you pick still. But if I'm picking, that's what it's gonna be. Let's see. And we've been doing a lot of DC lately.
Yeah.
Imperial War, Imperial Guardians #1. I don't know what that is.
I couldn't even
leave it to Marvel to have the same word in the title twice. They love that. Ultimate Comics, Ultimate Spider-Man, ultimately dies. Ultimately,
Imperial War, like, keeps popping up. I know it's an event, but I couldn't tell you a single thing about it. Apparently Hickman's doing it.
Something with Super Scroll.
Yeah.
I didn't know Hickman was doing anything outside of Ultimate right now.
I didn't either, no.
Okay. What else is happening tomorrow? There's some more stuff lower on the list that I know I'm buying. Yeah. Marvel Knights, World of Revelation #1 is tomorrow. They're starting that whole event. Okay. Remember, we keep making fun of the titles for that, and so some of those titles are already dropping. Like Long Shots, #1, that's tomorrow.
Right.
And then that Conan book everybody's loving is on 25 already.
Nice.
That Gotham by Gaslight Justice League series it looks like it's getting close to finished. It's on 4.
Okay.
Binary #1 starts tomorrow. Yeah. Let's take bets. How many issues does that go?
I will say I'll at least give it an arc.
Yeah.
I'll at least give it.
I'm going to say 9.
9's a good one. Probably good.
There's been a lot of 8, 9, 10 lately.
Yeah.
With one-off X-Men related characters. Is Binary an X-Men character? I don't know anything about this character. Yes, this is part of the X Years Later business.
Wasn't Binary like
This is Binary, and the universe burns with her. I don't know what her power set is.
Wasn't Binary like
I don't know what is 2 about her. I know nothing about this character.
Wasn't Binary like a Carol Danvers, like one of her like several like
Was it?
I think. I want to say like Binary was
It kind of rings a bell now that you say it.
Yeah.
But maybe so.
I want to say so, and then like when she was going through like a couple different things, and before they settle on Captain Marvel, but
Okay, wait a tick.
Yeah.
Explain this to me. So we're doing Planet She-Hulk. You remember that?
Yeah.
And we're also returning to Planet Hulk at the same time. Is this happening?
How long ago was Planet Hulk at this point? I mean, it's got to be at least
years.
20. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this like an anniversary thing? It's like, hey, remember this?
Maybe so.
Remember everybody?
But what would be really funny is if those two titles didn't talk to each other in any way.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what they're doing with it. Maybe they are like sister pieces with subplots that will converge at some point. I don't know.
Right.
But then again, maybe not. That's so weird.
Yeah. Well, again, too, if it was like 20 years ago, you've got like folks who probably read it when they were starting to read comics, and then I did see that Civil War.
Brayden, I don't know what we're talking about. He said it is now that you mentioned it. We're far enough away from that conversation. I'm not sure what he's even talking about at this point. But I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying too that I just read somewhere that Civil War was 20 years ago now too.
It would have been.
Yeah, I guess it's possible we're in the nostalgia cycle, so who knows?
Yeah. A little less than that, I think. Well, what was that? Was it as early as 04, 05? 05, 06?
I think so, because it was right after the Ultimates.
Yeah.
Because,
that's true.
Which is weird when you think about, like, all the stuff that sort of sprung from the Ultimates. Everything from, like, the MCU to, like, Trouble. Like, Trouble. A lot of people don't realize that Trouble
I don't know what that is.
Oh, you don't know about Trouble?
What is Trouble?
Okay, so... at one point... So, when the Ultimates got big, I think it was like Wizard Magazine or somebody decided that it wasn't actually a superhero book. It was a war comic. And so people started asking Mark Millar, like, okay, you've revitalized the war genre. What genre are you going to do next? And he goes
weird.
like, romance. And then all of a sudden, Marvel's like, all right, we're trying to relaunch Epic. So your first story for Epic is your romance book.
A romance book. Did it have superheroes in it?
About that.
Okay.
How spoilery do you want me to get?
I mean, I've never even heard of this.
I
probably won't read it.
It is a teen sex comedy about Aunt May, Uncle Ben, and like Richard Mary Parker.
Oh.
It is.
Maybe I've heard of this.
Yeah, it's.
And I didn't know that's what it was.
It is.
That's what it's called? Trouble?
Trouble, just called Trouble.
Okay.
Because it ends
that
with...
controversy rings a bell.
Yeah, because
I feel like I've heard somebody mention that, but
it is
weird.
It is legendary in its own right. I will just say that. But it's called Trouble because it ends with, I think it's actually like May getting pregnant with Peter Parker, who then gets raised by, like Richard and Mary. And
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I told somebody, I was trying to explain the plot to somebody once. And
Let's
they're like,
review that.
Yeah. Somebody was like, hey, did AO3 write a comic? But here's the thing, though. I don't think it's on Unlimited. It is on Comixology, but like Marvel is just quietly like, we don't talk about this anymore.
Oh, we can find it.
We're just gonna move this.
We
over
can,
here.
we can find a way.
Yeah, no.
We can find a way.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. Falling in Love on the Path to Hell from Image.
Okay.
Number 10, that's tomorrow.
I sold the title at least.
Yeah, me too. I don't think we've talked about this one.
Jerry Dugan.
Yeah, do you know who Gary Brown is?
Not offhand, no.
It's not a name I recognize.
Yeah.
Let's look at the premise here. Ooh, look at that first cover.
I like the first cover.
That opening cover. That's neat. Gary Dugan and Gary Brown present a massive double-length first issue of their groundbreaking new series, The Sun Set on Samurai and Gunslingers, at roughly the same time. But our two leads didn't die off quietly. In the East, Asami and Onimusha warrior and female samurai would rather die with her weapons than surrender them to a sword hunt. In the West, the gunslinger McWraith follows, that's a good name, McWraith, follows his revenge to the bitter end and pays the ultimate price. The future lovers are mortally wounded, a world apart, and awake together in a purgatory ruled by a ruthless society of damned warriors. Now, look, Marvel, you should be looking at these plot synopses,
I know,
okay? This just rolls off the tongue. This is good copy.
It is.
This one has it all. Action, the dead, the dying, the undead, and, of course, romance.
That's beautiful.
They have sold me on this book. I will try this one out. Okay.
Yeah.
This is maybe a good contender.
I would be fine with this. Yeah.
This 10 issues in, we can find the first 5 or 6.
And honestly, I think one of the things that we
do you want to do that, or do you want to do Eddie Brock Carnage?
I gotta be honest. If I had to pick, hear me out here.
It's a neat title.
It is, yeah. I feel like
I'd try that.
I feel like I have the first issue at least. I got it somewhere, but I'm not sure.
What?
I may. I don't know. I buy stuff, it goes to a pile. Who knows? It goes to the black hole of my...
And so you started with, I'm sold the title. I think I have this.
I am so in with this book that I've already bought it.
That's spectacular. Yeah. We should put that in the back of our minds.
Yes.
We should definitely consider that
Absolutely.
one. I need to pull this down somewhere so that I don't forget about it. I'm going to throw this in a folder. Hold on. I'm going to throw this at the end of my Poison Ivy folder, which means we might see it at the end of Poison Ivy. It's like, this will be our next review, folks.
Mm-hmm.
We just
Whoever gets a super chat, we just look at the camera and go, come on, you want us.
You know what you want to review.
You know, exactly.
Okay, Blood and Thunder from Images tomorrow.
Yeah, I need to get a copy of that, too. I've been enjoying that.
Event Horizon, Harley Quinn, Cross Elvira is tomorrow. Again, every time there's a new Harley Quinn book, I'm like, who is buying this at this point? Who even cares now? Strange Tales #1 from Marvel. What are they doing with the Strange Tales title now? Something with Wanda.
Yeah.
Roll the dice if you dare. It's Halloween. Some RPG thing. Marvel loves doing that.
You know what happened? Have you read the book Die? It is a
book or a comic?
It's a comic. It's
okay. Sorry, we say book on this show to mean comic a lot.
I know,
but
yeah.
For a second, I thought maybe it was like a prose novel.
Let's talk about literature for a second here. Let's bring it up a notch. It was, I forget who the creative team is. I'm gonna kick myself. I don't think it's like Kieran Gill or McKelvey or anything like that. I want to say it's like somebody like that. I'm going to kick myself. Please correct me if anyone knows. But it's basically like an isekai type where a bunch of friends get sucked into their like favorite TTRPG. Mm-hmm. So it's a big tribute to, and it was successful too because they even made like a tabletop version of it too.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
every time mainstream comics do it comes off kind of lame.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's good examples of it somewhere. I'm sure there is, but I feel like I've read that like short story in a million annuals.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. And also, I'm just tired of the brand of comedy that Marvel has.
Yeah.
And as soon as I read that, maybe it's better than that, but as soon as I read that premise, I'm just imagining more of that self-aware nerdcore kind of thing.
And it's probably no mistake that it's coming out when like Critical Role's dropping like season 4 too, which
okay.
I mean, it might be Marvel can't do brand synergy with its own brand, but hey, you know.
That's so funny.
Exactly.
Star Wars Han Solo Hunt for the Falcon #2. So elderly Han Solo. Again, I don't get why Marvel's publishing anything about the Disney movies. And they're still doing tons of that stuff. They're still doing Kylo Ren stuff.
Right.
Who cares? How's anybody at this point reading anything about Kylo Ren? I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, too. There hasn't been, like, that... There actually hasn't really been, like, a Disney Star Wars property just in the last few months, at least. That's been really huge. Like, I think they talked about doing, like, another Mandalorian, like, the movie.
Well, the trailer dropped.
The trailer dropped, yeah, but, like, that's...
Well, and people like... what's that show? Andor.
Yeah. Andor is good, though. At least for
like, where's the big comic tying in for that?
Yeah,
maybe they're doing one. I don't know, because I haven't been keeping up. But I haven't seen that.
You would think, especially with
no, that's the one thing they've got, and like, it's probably not as popular as it would be if people weren't turned off to Star Wars overall right now. But the people watching it are still liking it. Yeah. So like, it's critically liked. I don't know what the numbers are like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially like streamers too. But
I'm saying there is an audience for that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to finally fast track that and start watching that. I keep hearing really great things about it.
Andor kind of.
Have you watched it?
I've watched like part of the first season, and like the first episode, I was watching it, and it's like, okay, we're doing cyberpunk Star Wars now. I'm in with it.
Yeah.
And especially since
it looks interesting.
Well, the best thing about it is they make like the main villain such like a crappy like loser middleman in the Empire, where he's just trying, like, the whole plot is just this crappy middleman just trying to make his name, and he tries to give like fun. Yeah, so I mean, I like that part of it. They give like, but there's parts where he gives like tries to give rousing speeches to his men, like, yeah, that was a good speech. Great job.
Let me finish this up real quick.
Sorry,
So I mentioned Captain Planet last week. It was solicited, and then it didn't go to shops yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with Dynamite again, but we're finally getting that tomorrow. And I know that actually shipped because I was at the shop the other day, and I saw some of the stuff that shipped.
Yeah.
And then what else? I'll just mention some other stuff real quick. Yeah, Farmhand, TMNT Journeys #2. I didn't buy the first issue of this. These are reprints of the Volume 4 stuff, which I actually think I have some of that in trade. So I'm not buying these, but I've never read them. And the art is interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me just run through some of this and see what else I want to mention. Godzilla Here There Be Aliens. There was another Godzilla book that's tomorrow. I think Godzilla 3 is tomorrow. I'm not reading off everything, but just hitting some of this. Masterminds from Dark Horse. I'm seeing very little Dark Horse these days.
Yeah.
On this list, it seems like they're publishing maybe a book or two a week.
Yeah.
They've got the Stranger Tales book. Powerpuff Girls Thundercats is tomorrow. Strike That, Reverse It. So I gotta pick that up. I haven't been reading that. I've just been stacking them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anything about Thundercats, but I can like Powerpuff Girls, and some of the covers have been cool.
Yeah, like Thundercats is one of my like 80s blind spots too. I know the theme song. I know James Lipton wrote it.
What?
Yeah, like James Lipton from Inside the Actors Studio.
No, I know who James Lipton is.
He wrote that theme song.
I like James Lipton a lot. That's insane.
I know, right?
Do you know how old he was when he died?
How old?
He made it to like 90, 91.
Oh, wow.
Maybe even a little bit older than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he aged well, too.
And he did his show all the way up till then.
Wow, that's wild.
But one thing I don't appreciate about James Lipton, I will never understand this, and like, obviously it was his show, he could do whatever he wanted to do.
Right.
But he was very against putting it on disc and having box sets.
Really?
And he didn't seem interested in archiving it. Or not, like, I'm sure he archived it, but he didn't seem interested in making it readily available for people to watch later, and I've never understood that. There's no way to stream that show. It's like you can't get the old episodes. There's no way to watch it. And when people have tried to upload it on YouTube, it'll be there for a while and they get dropped off. Like there's no way it gets pulled. There's no way to watch that show.
Well, especially considering like the big names he
unless
got
they've done something now and I don't know about it.
Yeah,
but this was a few years ago.
Right.
Just before he died, I heard him talking about that. Where he was in an interview where somebody was like, "Okay, you're 90 now.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to preserve this show?" And he talked like he thought he would never die. You know? And I thought that was really funny.
I mean, at that point, when you're 90 in like that good shape too, he's like, yeah, I got a few good years of me. I'm like, to see this next century.
I don't know, preserve it.
Yeah,
but anyway,
exactly.
So that's the big stuff I wanted to mention from tomorrow. I've got 6 or 7 books if I buy Transformers. Let's get into some of the stuff that we bought last week, and or at least that we want to talk about that we bought recently.
Yeah.
All mine is from last week, but you might have some things from before. So why don't you show us what you brought?
So, first of all, there is one book I'm pretty sure that
let me answer this James Egan question real quick now that we have an audience. Thank you guys for joining us and hanging out with us. Appreciate it. Are you going to buy the absolute format Absolute Batman when it comes? I mean, just on principle, you almost want to, right?
Yeah.
The absolute. And if they don't do absolute absolutes, it's a crying shame.
Yeah.
I made fun of that as soon as that line was announced, where I was like, you already have something called absolute. Absolutes mean giant-ass volumes.
Yeah, I know.
And you're going to do a line called absolute so that you end up with absolute absolutes?
Yeah. I still think it's funny, too, that they put out, and they actually just put
out...
So,
I won't, but...
Somebody better. Somebody better.
But there's a part of me that wants that on a shelf, yes.
Well, it's funny, because they just put out the absolute Hush, like, just now. And it's like, yeah, I see what you're doing. Hush 2's bombing, so you gotta get something out of it too. No, this is absolute Hush. This is.
Or did people stop buying that?
I don't know if people stopped buying it, but like,
what do you mean it's bombing? Well, sure, like
critically at least. I don't have the actual numbers in front of me right now, and but
no, I knew it wasn't critically liked, but I thought you meant people weren't reading it or weren't buying it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they are.
And they might be, yeah. So,
but that also got delayed massively.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Because we talked about how hilarious it is that we've already started the numbers over again.
Exactly. We got 2 volumes running concurrently, too.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah. Anyway, what'd you bring?
So, I will say, there's one that I'm pretty sure that we both have read.
Oh,
so...
yeah. Well, that'll be good. I'll have somebody to review that with.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I got to tell you, I read this once and I liked it pretty well, and then I looked at it again and I'm a little torn on it now.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk. So I'm glad that you're here.
Right.
Or that you read it.
I did.
This is the first time we've done this. We're both holding the same issue. That's
exactly
fun.
with the same cover too.
But yeah, I was a little bummed that I wasn't gonna have Austin to talk to about this tonight.
Yeah.
By the way, he's not gonna make the show tonight. He didn't get enough of his books read, so he's gonna bring us 2 weeks worth of stuff next week.
Sounds good.
But anyway, so that'll be good. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We can do that right now if you want to.
Oh, sure,
Since
absolutely.
You got it.
Yeah, might as well got it right here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you can't even use that word anymore.
I know, right? I am fighting everything I can to be like, no, this is an absolute. This is the...
So did you get a copy of 1?
I did, yeah. I did get a copy.
Okay.
I did read 1, too. And I actually read 1 just right before this.
So how'd you feel about this?
You know, I like this overall. I did enjoy it. I did kind of... I do like that the Batmobile has a secret 13th gear.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what does it do? And the Batman's like, I have the coolest car in the world.
Coolest car.
But real quick, and sorry, we're this is horrible structure for review.
Yeah,
We've not said anything about this yet.
Right.
But I'm gonna cry foul real hard on coolest car in the world because in the flashback. At the beginning with Damian and Tim, it is the 89 Batmobile, and he has upgraded from the 89 car, which I cannot have.
I know, that is a crime. That is...
You can't say you have the coolest car, and you used to have the 89 car.
You used to have the Anton first car.
You don't get to say that.
Exactly, yeah.
Put your 13 gears in the 89 car.
That's what happens. Like
what are you doing?
He puts in the 13th gear, it just turns to the Anton first design. It's like, this is the best card.
That's what it does.
Exactly.
The 13th gear lets him turn it into any Batmobile from history.
Exactly.
That's what it does. Anyway,
I need a concept card now, too.
Set up this plot for a second.
Robin gets arrested.
Yeah.
That's what happens, and then he is not arrested anymore.
And then Batman breaks him out in the most dangerous way possible.
I know, yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I do. The one thing I do kind of appreciate...
How do you feel about him putting spikes all over the ground to blow up police cars?
Yeah. Although I will say, the one thing I've come to appreciate...
That is that Batman Begins thing where it's like 0 casualties.
Yeah, it's like just... No, it's okay. They all brace for impact, too. I
guess we're dealing with sort of a bad cop, and so he's supposed to be kind of justified. I just couldn't decide how I felt about the morality of some of them.
We've got, like, bad cops and worse cops here, too. And then, like, Batman takes, like, a shotgun blast to the back of the head, too.
But then, is it saying anything about what's going on with Vandal Savage as the commissioner right now, or any of that? Because I feel like it's just these cops acting the way they would under anybody that would let them act that way.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it kind of builds, especially with the ending too, where you have Vandal Savage. I think this is sort of like the kickoff of at least like the rest of the arc, if not the rest of the series. So I'm hoping it's building to something.
Yeah, but the problem was, not to give too much away, but there's not a whole lot to give away.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a... I mean, I know we're only 2 issues in, but it's... I can't even say, like, fill-in or side issue, but, like, it's not getting a ton done yet.
No, and...
It almost feels like... Because it kind of wants to be a reboot and not a reboot all at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what's awkward about this book so far. So it's like, we have to do a big issue introducing Robin.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of takes some time out to do that, and to have Robin get in a pickle that Batman has to get him out of.
Yeah.
And what was frustrating about it for me was just getting to the end. And so when I say it's a reboot and it's not, well, he's stuck with Vandal Savage, so he's decided to keep going with that.
Right.
Even though I don't think anybody would have begrudged him, and we're past that now.
Yeah.
But he's doing, and maybe he'll do something interesting with it.
Yeah.
But what's frustrating about it for me is I got to the end of it and I was like, well, if I'm in Vandal Savage shoes, just with what happened specifically in this issue, he doesn't even seem that wrong.
Yeah.
Where I don't know if you had that, but he's like, well, he does the typical, and we've seen this 100,000 times.
Right.
We can't have vigilantes taking the law into their own hands in the city, and I'm like, well, look at what Batman just did, though.
Exactly. Yeah, he just flipped over an armored car.
And as far as I can tell, and by the way, he had no idea what the situation was.
Right.
And all I can figure is Robin got arrested, so he thought he was justified in doing that.
Yeah, and then Robin probably knows how to brace for impact when a truck flips.
And like, Robin, that cop was being awful in the rough ride and all of that.
Yeah.
I guess shooting the guy in the back, although that whole thing is really ambiguous and awkward to me.
Yeah.
Because you've got a guy after a murder, fleeing the scene. You don't know if he's armed,
right?
And so I get the like broad, obvious social commentary is like cops unjustifiably shooting unarmed people,
right.
That's not exactly the situation, or at least not from his perspective. The problem is, we know that guy is, I don't even know for sure if he's unarmed. I think the idea is supposed to be that he's not.
Yeah.
We know that he's just stealing baby formula for his family or whatever.
Yeah.
But that cop wouldn't know whether or not, like, he's fleeing the scene, and he did do a crime.
Yeah.
But that cop wouldn't know if that guy was the one that killed the guy on the street
a
block back.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wasn't sure for a minute either. I had to go back and look at it because they're wearing similar things.
Yeah.
They both got that mask, and then you go, oh wait, no, it's this guy that sneaks out from behind the truck.
Yeah.
And I don't think the art makes it quite clear enough what is happening.
Not quite. Like, sometimes the art can be a little... So I really like the art in the first issue. I really like a lot of the cityscapes. I really liked especially Killer Croc being just so chunky.
Me too. I mean, there's good stuff here too.
There's good stuff here too. Sometimes it can be a little cluttered.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be a little hard to sort of parse and to scan, but
But really, how do you feel about that? Am I off base? Did you have the same thing, or
well, the one thing I was reading this too, I just kind of assumed like it's Gotham, the police force, especially with Commissioner Gordon as a beat cop now,
yeah,
is terrible to begin with too, and chaotic. It's like, okay, even if they do stuff that doesn't really make sense.
But how hard is it to make it just really clear this guy is actually a terrible cop?
Yeah,
is all I'm saying.
That's true. Yeah, and
because if let's say you put Commissioner Gordon there,
right,
and there's this guy that's fleeing the scene after somebody got murdered.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe don't try to kill him.
Yeah.
But you're, I think, within your rights to shoot him. He's fleeing the scene. Right. I think.
Well, it depends. Like, I mean, it depends on like the police force too, because like back in, I know like earlier too, absolutely. But I know there's also like rules of engagement now that are different in like modern police forces. But in like comics too, it's like.
Yeah, what even is it in Gotham?
What is it in Gotham? Yeah, Gotham doesn't have a whole lot of police oversight too.
And obviously, I don't want to get into the real world politics of all of this, but I'm just trying to get in the head of Fraction here and go, what about what that guy did is supposed to tell me for sure he's an awful enough person that Batman is justified in handling it the way he handles it? Because it's not until about halfway through where I'm positive how bad of a cop this guy is.
Yeah. I mean,
it reads like I'm supposed to hate him from the start.
I think, like, especially with the Batman story, especially with Vandal Savage being the Commissioner now, I think there's a lot that's sort of taken as read, where it's like, yeah, these guys are corrupt. They work for Vandal Savage, and they're in Gotham. And I think sometimes that can be like a little bit of a slippery slope to like storytelling crutches and not clarifying enough. But again, I know when I was reading it too, there was a lot that I just sort of was like, yeah, it's Gotham. This is what they do in Gotham. That's true. People be shooting people in Gotham too. That's just how.
Yeah. Well, and that's when I had the first read.
Yeah.
And then it had been a few days, so I checked it out again.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute.
You start thinking about,
I'm not totally sure how I feel about some of this.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of an awkward read. But like I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it neither. No. And the one thing I have sort of come to appreciate a little bit too in like just the last couple of issues.
I do more wish we were continuing the story from the first issue.
Yeah, that's the one thing too that I thought was odd that you didn't have. We've talked a lot about Commissioner Gordon. You didn't have him. You didn't have Officer Gordon now. You didn't have Alfred Ghost. I'm sure they'll come back down the line and they'll need to be in every issue. But it seems like a lot of the stuff they established in the first issue that was sort of pushed to the side to...
And don't get me wrong, I like some good one-and-done comics, but that first issue felt like an establishing setup issue.
Yeah, exactly. And then a lot of things that were established...
This read a lot more to me. Sorry.
No,
this read... Because, again, I hesitate in saying flat-out fill-in.
Yeah.
But it reads like it's 9 or 10 issues into a run.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it reads like... I don't want to say disconnected, but kind of too. Yeah. I have come to appreciate the little capture boxes here with all the different gadgets.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Real quick before we move on, I did like the flashbacks about Batman teaching him how to drive.
Yeah.
But I thought it was like that was kind of touching.
Yeah.
And I like juxtaposing that with where he's at now.
Yeah.
What was weird about it though is the idea. There's some. I think like sliding timeline retconning stuff happening. I wasn't sure how I felt about Damian is already like
he's already there, jumping on the
9
hood.
years old or whatever, and Tim is only just now learning to drive.
Yeah.
So does that mean that Batman had Damian around in the current timeline when Tim Drake first showed up?
Yeah, that was...
And how do we feel about Damian being there but not a Robin yet? That whole thing is weird.
That was weird. I don't know if that's
Fraction or if that's been kind of retconned out and changed, but that was new to me.
I do know that a lot of the Batman Son stuff between like Morrison and the original story, that's been retconned and re-retconned to the point where, like, in flashbacks and reprints, they've had to draw a mask on naked Bruce Wayne just because Talia didn't know Bruce Wayne was Batman in this timeline.
Oh my god, that's great.
Yeah, so...
All right, anyway moving right along.
Yeah. So...
Very curious to see what issue 3 looks like.
Yeah.
Because right now I feel like this book could go anywhere.
Right.
I have no idea what exactly he's doing yet.
But
I love the covers.
The covers are great. So I did break down and buy it.
What'd you get?
Strictly for the title.
Oh, you got the
Satanic Panic.
Yeah, you and Austin both.
Yeah, which overall, there are, after the last anthology we reading an anthology where stories happened,
pretty
where
bad.
stuff happened. And
can I see it for a second?
Yeah.
And this is one of those, like I was talking about last week, that has the information printed on the spline.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
You can't decide if it counts as a trade or as a single issue.
Yeah.
That fits in a bag and board.
Yeah.
Some nice art.
Yeah. So it's funny because a lot of some of the best stories here have more, I don't want to say necessarily non-traditional, but yeah, like way more like indie art too.
Yeah.
You see, like this one about,
which is really your bag.
Yeah. And even going here, the
so just with some of the stuff you've been bringing over lately, it
pretty
seems
much,
like
yeah,
exactly. You're really into that kind of art.
But even like some of this Raven story here, I mean, the art's great, but it looks
cool.
Yeah, but it looks like it fits more like an Oni Press book than anything else too. Which
it's real manga inspired.
Yeah. But again, like this was a great story too. It was a nice little story about Raven on Halloween. The Swamp Thing story is like a really cool one about John Constantine turning into a werewolf, getting bit by or claw, I guess. I know you're not an Etrigan fan, so I'm just gonna go right past it. I mean, it's not a bad Etrigan story. It's just there's a kind of a cool twist at the end where they think he's like a prince of hell, and they basically send like an assassin to go overthrow him, take his crown.
I love that art.
Yeah, no,
that's beautiful.
And I even really like the even like the lettering in this book too is kind of impressive me.
So I'm assuming this is multiple creative teams.
Yeah, multiple creative teams. Everyone from Daniel Warren Johnson, John McCrae.
But it looks like a not phoned in anthology.
No, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really solid stories here. There is.
This is why, and I'll eat my hat if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm expecting about 5 rungs up the quality ladder for Batman. I almost said Daredevil.
Yeah.
Deadpool.
Deadpool, yeah.
When DC does their Batman Deadpool.
Yeah, because again, these were all stories. Things happen. There's a Mike Grell's Warlord in here, which I couldn't even tell you like the first time I Mike Grell's Warlord.
That's crazy. Those are a little valuable now.
Yeah.
Some of those early issues of Warlord.
Now, the one... I'm not sure if this is my favorite story, but this is just the one that sticks out to me. And I know I showed you the variant cover they did that's based on this. The Plastic Man story. Which...
Looks like they're doing, like, body horror stuff.
Oh, they are, yeah.
Man.
It's like there's...
That's cool.
Like, yeah, part of it has kids melting and getting absorbed by Plastic Man so he can fight... like the weird flesh monster that's all of their parents.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. So again, like a really solid anthology. There's some stories are better than other. There's kind of a framing story with Satana. But it's not really a framing story. It's just one at the beginning and then it gets referenced with an ambush bug story.
That's great. As you're flipping through it, I'm just noticing the variety of colors.
Yeah.
Color schemes. It's really cool.
That's the amazing thing, too, is that there's so much variety on top of it. And everything from, like the Swamp Thing book that is... Who actually does the art for Swamp Thing?
Yeah, it looks real cartoony.
Yeah, it's Andrew McLean.
Braden says it was supposed to be a manga-inspired anthology in the first place. Does it all look kind of manga-ish?
Not,
because I wasn't getting that from what I was looking
not
through.
really. Some stories look more manga influenced than others.
Okay.
Like obviously the Raven story is the one that's kind of the most.
Right.
Like the Ambush Bug story looks a little cartoony, but not necessarily manga. Megan Huang actually did this. I actually commissioned some art for her like a couple years ago.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was for Jen's birthday. I made her, or Christmas. I made one of her TTRPG characters and got an artist to draw that. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I went up to her. It was like, look, this is who drew that. Remember her? She made you cry. In a good way.
That's awesome.
But no, I was really impressed with this. I actually really enjoyed this. And again, considering like the last anthology we read, seeing something that has variety and has like some passion behind it was refreshing. So, but I would recommend. Let me put this back in here. I'm at least trying to keep the bag and board solid. If I can't keep keep this bag.
That's not enough my thing to buy it, but it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not really into like supernatural DC, this probably won't necessarily sell you on it. But if you are, I highly recommend it. So
Braden says he meant that's how manga usually approaches anthology. I don't know in what way he means that, but
we do like a Shoujin Jump type thing with this too.
Yeah. You mean in that there's variety and it doesn't suck? I don't. Oh, you bought the new Phantom book.
I did buy the new Phantom book.
That looks really good.
Which I read this. I actually enjoyed it. It's kind of
Uh-oh.
But
oh, just the way you're setting this up, you're like, I mean, I liked it.
Well, no, it's just a very like, I don't want to say basic, but it's in a good way too. Like it's a lot of throwbacks, a lot of
oh, sure.
Yeah. The Sing Brotherhood is in it.
Just real back to basics.
Real back to basics.
Kind of felt like you've read it before.
A little bit, yeah, but not necessarily in a bad way.
Okay.
It is semi-modern too.
Oh, sure.
Which a lot of times with the Phantom, it could go back and forth.
Well,
like,
you could jump around in any era.
Jump around in any era too.
There's always a Kit Walker.
Always a Kit Walker somewhere.
Yeah.
I think it's like I'm trying to think how many Phantoms there are. It's like 26 or something at the last.
Oh, really? Wow.
Because
that issue 2 cover is going to be cool.
Issue 2 looks
Look
great,
at that.
But there is a subplot about the local in the village near where the Phantom's cave, that the chief is dying and he's become friends with the son who's supposed to take over, and it does open with a plane crash too, like a seaplane that's about to explode. So
it's a Phantom.
It's
story.
a Phantom book, exactly.
Yep.
So I mean, there's a lot that if you're like a fan of the Phantom in general too, there's a lot of throwback stuff, but there's at least enough sort of modern flair to it that feels contemporary. So
it's so weird to see another company with that license now, because I think Dynamite had it for a while.
Dynamite did like a really. I read like the first couple of issues. I thought it was kind of interesting. They did like a really weird design with the Phantom.
Did they?
Where he wasn't wearing like a purple jumpsuit. He was like painted purple.
Oh, strange.
Yeah, I'll have to pull it up because it was an interesting look where like he had black circles under his eyes and like he dumped purple stuff on. But that was also another one where it was like a modern take because he was fighting guys with like cloaking technology. So, but yeah, I think that was a Dynamite book way back in the day. So.
I always like the idea of Phantom 2049.
Yeah, and they're doing like another. They're doing a reboot of that too. I think about game.
Crazy.
Yeah, they actually.
I would consider checking out.
If I remember correctly, I think they even had I guess.
Are you serious?
Right in the back of the book.
They did bring it back.
Yeah.
And they went all cartoony with it. They're trying to make it look like the cartoon show.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's funny, too, because I knew about Phantom 2049 before I knew about The Phantom. So,
this ad is weird because it doesn't even have the title of the book on it.
Yeah.
It's
they just assume you know.
Yeah. Oh, no, they're going to call it Phantom 2040. Maybe it was 20... No, it wasn't 2049. It was 2040.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking... just because of 2099, I messed that up. No, that's right. It was 2040.
I'm trying to remember the actual year now.
No, it was. It was. That's right. It's been 30 years.
Yeah, I haven't watched the show since it was on.
And I never saw more than like an episode.
Well, it's funny, too, because I remember...
And the video game's real well liked, and then I finally tried to play it, and I was like, "This is not great. I don't know why people like this so much." But
I was just gonna say that's funny. Like for a while, I didn't even put it together. Like when I was a kid, that Phantom 2040 was the same as the Phantom, the Billy Zane movie.
That's so funny.
And then,
does it predate it? Or did it come out after the movie? I don't know.
The cartoon predates the movie.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Which makes it even weirder.
I know, yeah.
Because that's a strange premise to introduce that character with.
What was the one?
Because no kid on the... I shouldn't say on the planet, but very few kids would have had any idea who that even was.
I know, yeah. You're top of your 30s pulp heroes? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Kids today love their Doc Savage, you know. What was that one cartoon though? It was like the Defenders.
Defenders of the Earth. That had Phantom in it.
Yeah, that had the Phantom.
Okay, you're right. So there were a few kids that knew him from that. That knew about that,
but I think that also had like Doc Savage and Mandrake. I think was another one too.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember. It had one of the like pulp sci-fi type heroes.
Yeah, crap.
And then there was the magic guy in the top hat. I don't remember what his name is.
Mandrake.
Oh, is that who that is?
That's who, yeah, that's who that was. Yeah,
I never knew who that was as a kid.
Yeah.
I had a puzzle of that.
Yeah.
And I never saw that show. I didn't know what the hell the puzzle was from.
Yeah, I never watched the show either. I didn't realize it was a thing until like well after the fact too. So.
Is that all your stuff?
Yep, all my stuff.
Okay, I'll run through mine real quick. So we already did Batman #2. I started talking a little bit about Prelude to DCKO, Justice League the Omega Act special. This is overly long and overly expository.
Right.
But it did, like I said, give me a good history lesson of what's been going on recently.
Right.
With the books that are leading up to KO. And so I do feel a little bit more like armed with knowledge going into that.
Yeah.
And the big thing I found interesting was just the idea of Doomsday as now this like Time Lord like guide character.
Okay,
Did you know about this?
I didn't know about that. No.
I don't know if this is a new thing or how long we've been doing this, but Doomsday apparently makes it like millennia into the future, and he's died and come back so many times, because you know the whole thing with Doomsday is you can't kill him the same way twice, and he's constantly evolving, and so he evolves into this like omnipotent godlike being, and now he's the time trapper. Doomsday's the time trapper, and he's warning everybody that he comes back and he's trying to warn the Justice League and Superman specifically about the Omega particle, and that Darkseid is ultimately going to win even though he's died, because when he died, this particle went out into the universe that ultimately will allow him to basically rule and win, and that there's this this particle somehow has like morality to it, and can like manipulate people's feelings and stuff. It's a very strange idea, and so he's basically the catalyst to get, or not even the catalyst, but just lets everybody know that the KO thing is about to start. And so I didn't expect that to come from Doomsday.
Right.
That explains why Doomsday is not in that fight, though.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
So there's that. You know what it reminded me of?
What's that?
It reminded me of the Red Skull thing in Endgame.
Oh, yeah. We just need
kinda
like a
like
random
that.
magic guy character.
Yeah, and so now we got that, and he's Doomsday. He's like super skinny Doomsday,
Wow.
wearing this goofy robe and speaking really eloquently.
Yeah.
It's very odd. And then there's this flashback that goes through it of Laura L. when she's younger. I think maybe even before she's an L, but Laura, hanging out with her best friend Ursa, because of course we had to do that. It's like if Zod used to be friends, or if Jor-El used to be friends with Zod, then naturally, of course, Laura must have been friends with Ursa.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just make everything perfectly squarely mirrored and matched.
What's the they call like the problem with any
Ridiculous.
sort of prequel is the everybody knows each other syndrome.
Yeah.
It's the Anakin Skywalker built C-3PO.
Everybody knows each other, and everybody has to be the opposite of what they were, and it's you always have to be best friends with what will eventually be your worst enemy. So of course you have to do that.
Yeah.
And this like subplot in the flashbacks sets up the whole Omega thing, and that Doomsday, we've retconned it now,
Right.
so that Doomsday was built for the exact purpose that he's fulfilling now with this KO thing.
Right.
So he was, well, and I guess not just to tell us about it, but I guess to be a weapon to fight Darkseid.
Right.
So I'm a little bit unsure about what's going on with that, because of course the premise with KO is somebody's gonna get the power to fight Darkseid or this particle or whatever by the end of it, and I don't know how exactly Doomsday fits in being a weapon.
Yeah.
But I gotta go back and look, Chris. I'm pretty sure that originally the idea was never that Doomsday was from Krypton.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that we can't stop doing with him in extra media.
Yeah.
And so now, like, Smallville did it, and the Krypton TV show did it. Like, everything, and that thing is bat stuff crazy, but everything does Doomsday on Krypton, and now the comics have retroactively...
And technically BVS did that too.
BVS did it too, and then, in a really weird way, like, they didn't come up with Doomsday, but it was a clone of Zod.
Right.
And then... The other thing I found very funny about the flashback is they're on Krypton.
Yeah.
They walk up to this, like, this wall that's got this this weapon behind it that's going to be Doomsday.
Yeah.
And it's got the Omega symbol on it. And Laura, I think, Laura Ursa 1 is somehow already familiar with it and is like, oh, that's the sign for the Omega thing, and I'm going, you guys have the Greek alphabet?
I was about to say. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, didn't you
How
know?
you know what that is? It's so weird.
Yeah, they're on this city on Krypton, Athens.
So I don't know if I would recommend this, like I said earlier, for anybody. Well, I would recommend this for two types of people.
Yeah.
For people who don't know anything that's been going on lately but want to read KL.
Yeah.
And secondly, people that, now this is a very small group of people, but folks that don't like Booster Gold and want to own a cover with his dead corpse on it, because that's why I bought this. I didn't actually buy this because it was a prelude to KO. I bought it because I need this cover in my collection. And wouldn't you know it, Booster Gold is okay in this issue.
Well,
he's the kind of Eisen character that Doomsday's talking to through the whole thing, that convinces Superman to finally listen to him. Because Superman, for obvious reasons, doesn't want to listen to a futuristic, skinny, eloquent version of Doomsday.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. Like, our timing with reviewing stuff is always interesting, or very often we'll just have things that line up really well, Chris.
Yeah.
Because Austin and I just reviewed Funeral for a Friend last night.
Oh, wow.
And so we were already dealing with Doomsday stuff.
Yeah.
And Booster Gold, who is a major character for just a couple issues there, and is through more of actual Death of Superman.
Yeah.
Because he's in the Justice League, and he gets his suit all ripped up, and then he doesn't have powers because his powers come from his suit.
Yeah.
But I had completely forgotten, we talked about this last night, that Booster Gold, which this is a hilarious irony because Death of Superman is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
And I don't like Booster Gold.
Yeah.
But growing up, I didn't know who that was. And so it was just one of the weird C-list, like, randos in the Justice League in the early 90s because it was populated by people that nobody cared about.
Like Bloodwind.
Like Bloodwind, yeah. So we talked about that last night. Booster Gold names Doomsday.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've read,
Comes from it. And then one of my favorite moments in Death of Superman is when Superman, at one point Booster Gold says he's just being really dramatic, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, it's like we've arrived at our Doomsday. And then later, Superman is about to go fight Doomsday for the first time, and he's like, what did you call this monster? Doomsday? And I was like, no, he did not call him that.
Yeah.
He just said it's like we're at a Doomsday, and then Superman is like, he needs a name. You said that word, so technically Superman names him, but because of a thing Booster Gold said, and then
that's such like Flash CW dialogue too.
It's great, and then the best thing that happens, I still think it's better than a lot of what's in those shows. Okay, I'm kidding. Yeah. And then the best part is when Superman flies up to Doomsday for the first time. They've not fought yet. And he just yells at him, "Doomsday!" exclamation point. And you're like, if Doomsday understood English, he'd be like, why the hell are you calling me that? Where did that come from? That's not my name.
It's like when you name your pets. Like, I know you know your name isn't Fido. You don't think your name is Fido, but it is.
Push the X says, wasn't Doomsday's comic origin prehistoric Krypton? I thought it was a other random planet out in the cosmos. I did not think it was actually Krypton. But I haven't read the 3-part Doomsday miniseries that breaks down the origin in a very long time.
Yeah.
And so I've been thinking about cracking that open and maybe reviewing it somewhere. But anyway, I need to do that. I am curious to see if I was just wrong about that. It's been too many years, and I'll crack that open. Oh, no, it is Krypton. But I didn't think it was. I thought it was some other planet.
Yeah.
Or it was ambiguous at the very least. But
I was going to say, when he first shows up, it's just, there's a big monster. Fight him, Superman. Like, I don't remember there being a whole lot of emphasis on where he actually came from as much as he's here now.
Well, no, the idea is it's complete mystery in that, but then a couple years later, they did an origin book for him. Okay, and then I'll mention Absolute Evil, but I guess I don't want to give away anything yet. Right. So, if I'm not giving away stuff, I can't talk too much about this, except to say stick with it because I found it actually kind of dull and boring through about half of it. Because it sort of like this is really expository and is long and is one guy talking forever. Just breaking down the history of superheroes in the Absolute Universe before you get to Batman and the new wave of them. Because I will give that away. It turns out that there is a, like, Justice Society period of sorts. I don't think they have an actual Justice Society, but, like, there is a Sandman, and like some of these early characters are there. And it starts to look...
too.
Yes, there is. It starts to look really familiar. And at first I was a little disappointed where I was like, this is looking too much like the regular mainstream DC universe, and we're not doing any spin on any of this. And then all the spin is at the end, and it very quickly turns back into the world or that they've been building, which I appreciate. It looks like there might be some interesting dynamics with this new evil cabal of villains. I like how no-nonsense Ra's al Ghul is. The Joker thing so far is interesting. You need someone to tell you that's who it is, which is cool. But then there are kind of two big twists at the end. And that's all I'll say. Like you said at the beginning, one of them, I guess I have to say because you said it already.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
I just ruined everything here.
There is a character that dies, which makes you wonder what in the world they're doing with a certain property later.
Yeah.
And then there is a character introduction that I was not expecting. But interestingly, I was wondering when we would do that character the page before I turned to the last page. I like just all of a sudden I was like, when do they do that? And then there it is. And I was like, oh, interesting. So yeah, this read essential.
Right.
But long in the tooth.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily long in the tooth. Did you actually read it?
I haven't read it, but I do know that doesn't the Omega particle, doesn't that play like a big role in that too? Or
it comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also might be mixing a couple of things because I read them both together, but I know the Omega thing comes up in both of them.
Yeah.
Maybe the particle thing is talked about more in Absolute, and I'm mixing up stuff with that.
Right.
So apologies if I did that, but it is curious that comes up in both things.
Yeah. So again, next time I get to the comic shop, that's gonna be one of my catch ups too. Like I think last week I mostly got,
Yeah, no, I think the whole morality of the particle thing is actually in this book and not the other one.
Right.
I shouldn't have read those back to back.
Either way, too. I mean, it's one of those where, especially since it seems like a lot of.
It'll be weird if they're connected.
Yeah. It's almost like...
I'm not expecting that, but they could be.
It's possible that DC might be going all in.
Ooh, it might be. Yeah.
My finger guns here were covered up by the mic.
I see what you did there. Okay, real quick, the only other thing I read from last week is Batgirl 12, and I only bought this for the cover, so I've occasionally bought this book because I really like the covers, and I haven't kept this on my pull and been constantly buying them, but I do read them when I get them. One question I have about Batgirl right now, so this is Cassandra Cain going off to try to avenge the death of her mother, Lady Shiva, and in this issue, so she's pulled kind of a team together with the son of Brunt's Tiger, who was introduced back in like 9. I read that. That's the issue that has that great panel with her on a horse, which is awesome. And she's got a couple other people on that team, and then she goes to Nissa, the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. Ra's is dead, and she's got this secret place where she's trying to reestablish what the League of Shadows is. And my question is, when do we retcon it in the comics? There's a theme on tonight's show. When do we retcon it in the comics from League of Assassins to League of Shadows?
That's a good question, actually, yeah.
Because they kept saying Shadows in this, and I was like...
No, that's a thing.
That's Batman Begins. And it's the same thing that I had with something else earlier, where I was like... We're retconning things to be like with Doomsday.
Yeah.
But I might have been wrong about that one. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, it's like, whenever there's like any sort of popular outside of, extra media depiction, like eventually it'll start trickling its way to the comics too.
Well, sometimes it'll be like that'll be like a mandate from on high. That happened with the Infinity Stones, which has always ticked me off. We had to change the gems to stones and go with their colors. So freaking irritating. But what's weird with this is if they've retconned it and it's not somehow a different organization, but I'm pretty sure it's not. We've taken a name that in a movie was changed just to soften it. Because the studio told them it couldn't be called League of Assassins. It sounded too violent. So Goyer had to change it to Shadows just to keep the PG-13 and make it more kid friendly. So that means that we took a thing to make it more kid-friendly, and we put it in our more violent comics, and I just think that's so weird.
Yeah, look, they still call him Deathstroke in regular DC continuity, too.
Exactly.
He's not Slade.
I like Batgirl's kind of internal conflict with this, and trying to decide if she is with the death of Shiva, about vengeance or justice, which is kind of the typical thing to do with it, but it's handled pretty well. I like the way she's kind of cutting off her friends because she doesn't want to be talked out of it, and I like the kind of ironic twist of she's going to the absolute most obvious place for help with revenge, and Nissa has practically become a pacifist.
Yeah.
And that's pretty great.
That's cool, yeah.
This is pretty good. I enjoyed that a lot. And then other stuff I bought last week, I bought I did get 3. I got a newer printing of Absolute Batman #3. And then I bought a couple of old Amazings that I was missing, Chris.
Yeah,
I got these for. Did I? I bought these for $5 apiece. You haven't been over since I bought these.
You sent to me over Messenger.
Did I really?
Yeah, because the Hobgoblin one.
I do sometimes do that. Yeah,
because you showed me like the quarter box too.
Oh, that's right. Because it's got that great quote where it goes, where Hobgoblin. Sorry, I forgot I did that.
No, you're good. Yeah,
Hobgoblin up in the corner says, "It's great. Steal it." That's so good. But yeah, these are like late 70s, early 80s Amazings. This is 249 and 250. So Hobgoblin issues, not super valuable. I don't think either of these are keys, but in really good shape. Definitely worth the $5 that I spent on them. And I like to, when I can, I go back and gap fill my silver and bronze as much as I can. And the shop I'm going to now has had a really good selection of those.
Yeah,
so
to say that's back from the era when like Tom DeFalco and Christopher Priest or whoever it was were fighting over who the Hobgoblin was supposed to be.
That's right. Yep, that's right in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Of that whole debacle. And then I got Doomsday Clock 8 just because I was missing it. I hate this series, but or at least what I've read of it, and I've tried it 5 times. I cannot get past the 2nd or 3rd issue, but I own most of it, and some of the covers are fun, and I'm like, whatever, I'll finish it. It was cheap, so I bought that.
Doomsday Clock is one of those books I've heard nothing good about, but it's to the point where I almost need morbid curiosity. That's the theme of today's show. I just need to see it just to
I don't think I am capable of reading all 12 of those in one sitting.
Yeah.
I would almost have to, even though I said earlier, in 12-issue maxi, I always review together.
Right.
I would almost have to do that in 2.
Have you
would almost have to do that.
Have you read the issue where Dr. Manhattan flashes Mary Marvel?
The hell?
That is a thing that happens in Doomsday Clock.
Well, he's usually naked. Why would he have to flash anybody?
I mean, that's fair.
I don't even understand
well,
that.
he just shows up.
Does he just bend over?
I mean, basically...
I just don't even understand that.
I think he just, like, appears, and Mary Marvel's like, oh, you're naked.
What's that flashing?
I mean, it's not really flashing. It's just showing up. He just happens to be, you know.
Do you have to send somebody ahead of time to warn them? Like, okay, look, this naked man's about to show up.
Exactly.
Blue naked.
It's like,
he's not naked. He's blue.
He's just blue.
That makes him seem less naked, I guess.
Look, I know it looks like he's naked, but dabba-dee-dooba-da.
So, Chris, I've started a silly secondary collection inside of my comics.
Yeah.
Where there's like a subset of covers with superheroes next to gravestones.
Yeah, that's a pretty prolific genre.
I know. There's a lot of these.
Yeah.
Now, the sweet spot, this is not one of those, but this was cheap. And
you get entire run of Daredevil alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This was cheap, but it was Supergirl in a gravesite, and really simplistic art. I just thought this was kind of a nice cover, and then I went, but the sweet spot is when it's a superhero next to a grave with their own name on it. That's the subset that I'm after. I'll buy them when they're just at graves. But the subset and the most important one is they got their own grave. So I got a Spider Girl that was like that. That was like a Mayday Parker, and I was like, that's awesome. I gotta have that. And then I bought the traded version of History of the DC Universe. So this is not the new one, but this is Marv Wolfman's History of the DC Universe.
Nice.
Now, are you familiar with this?
Little, not much.
Okay,
I like the Alex Ross. Is that
let
Alex
me.
Ross?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about this book and what it is because it's interesting.
Yeah.
And there's a foreword in this trade that explains it, and
Right.
it gives me some information I didn't know. And I don't know if Wolfman read it or wrote that, or Perez did. I'd have to crack this open. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway. It turns out that I actually own. This is only 2 issues, and it turns out I actually own a first printing of the first issue. And didn't remember that. But I'm glad to have this in trade to get that forward and to get this great cover.
It's a great cover, yeah, no.
I'm glad I have that. This has been reprinted again since then. So this is a weird, convoluted history of history of the DC universe.
Yeah.
So originally, this was supposed to be issues 11 and 12 of Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Okay.
And so the whole idea was they would tell their story, and then they would finish it with a history of the whole universe that they just destroyed and sort of started over.
Yeah.
And it is totally chronological from like the birth of the beginning of time all the way up to right before Crisis happens.
Yeah.
And it's a neat, informative read, and there's a lot of really great art in it. But what happened was they decided they needed 2 more issues to tell that story.
Yeah.
As wordy and convoluted as that thing is. And they went, and I love a lot of things about Crisis, but that is a hard book to read.
Yeah.
So then, it's work.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful.
Right.
But it's work.
Yeah. It's
So
the
they-
Ulysses of comics.
So they went, well, we need 2 more issues in order to tell this story. So they ended up publishing this as its own thing afterwards. So that's why it's only 2 issues.
Yeah.
But then what I discovered that I had never heard is Crisis on Infinite Earths was originally pitched as history of the DC Universe.
Didn't know that. No, I'm learning stuff today.
Yeah, and somehow went from let's do a long history to let's actually tell this really complicated story to reboot it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Huh.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to have that now. Look, all the information is on the side of
There
the,
we go. Hey, that's how you know.
and then there's another thing I was going to talk about, but I think I'll talk about it next week. Because that's all the stuff I actually bought, and we're late enough for the show. I want to keep going. So that's all the stuff that we bought last week. And now I want to mention a couple of weird news items, Chris.
Okay.
The first thing is the Superman, Spider-Man announcement. I'm sure you know about this.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
which we were just talking about that too, weren't we? Like the original Superman Spider-Man crossover.
I think it might have come up on the last show,
Yeah,
and
I'm trying
then
to
now all of
think.
a sudden they've announced
There
this.
you go. Yeah.
But yeah, this was announced like 5 days ago, so it hasn't. We haven't had a chance to talk about it on the show yet.
Yeah.
But this is going to be just like the Batman Deadpool thing, where it's just going to be 2 one-shots again, and Marvel's going to do one and DC's going to do one, and we've got rumors of creative teams, but we don't know for sure who it's going to be yet.
Right.
Dan Mora is one of the artists that's rumored.
Yeah.
Everybody wants him on everything right now.
Yeah.
And that's fair because I love him and he's wonderful.
he's
but
great,
it's like he's going to be forced to do every DC Marvel crossover.
His hand is going to fall off.
It's going to fall off.
Yeah.
It's really funny. So this is like a big anniversary thing because we had a very famous Superman Spider-Man crossover 40 years ago.
Yes.
And so they're taking the opportunity, and I guess I'm glad they're doing that and not wasting it, to do it again now. My first thought was you should have led with that.
Yeah.
This will be a much more exciting thing to people. But there are also a lot of really amusing memes coming out over this.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you've seen them.
I don't think I've seen the memes.
There's a lot of people making fun of where Spider-Man currently is in the continuity and where Superman currently is in the continuity because Spider-Man's history, as we all know, has gotten very whacked out and writers can't figure out what to do with him.
Yeah.
And Superman is in a much more stable and traditional status quo place, more or less. And so people are making memes, making fun of things like, where it's always Superman and Spider-Man. I should have brought some of these up. Superman and Spider-Man meet.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man and Superman will say something like, I'm happily married
Yeah.
to Lois Lane, and Spider-Man's like, oh, I've never managed to make that work out because editorial won't let me, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so people keep making fun of the real pathetic place Peter is in, and the very stable, kind of traditional place Superman is in.
Clark's got his stuff together too. Just
it's really funny. So it's like, in the modern age, what does that crossover look like without throwing Spider-Man under the bus, without going classic throwback with it?
I mean, you almost would have to a little bit.
Yeah, and that's my prediction.
Right.
Is, and maybe I'm wrong, and this isn't. They won't be smart enough to do this.
Yeah.
I preached this sermon a lot lately.
Yeah.
The only good things I've read from Marvel since I got back into current are throwback.
Yeah.
The Marvel one needs to be.
Yes.
Now, the worry you'd run into, of course, is that you would just try to redo the original.
Yeah.
Which I've, by the way, never read cover to cover. I've seen pieces of it. But the problem is, and I've always wanted a first printing of that. I've had opportunities to buy it, and it was always just a little bit more than I wanted to spend right then. This will hike that up, I bet.
I bet, yeah. No.
And so, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get my hands on one. They are going to do new facsimile editions of it when this comes out, and I'll buy one of those.
Yeah.
Just to read it and just to just sit it on a shelf. So that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Plush DX, just don't comment on Spidey's marriage. I feel like there's lots of things you'd have to not comment on.
Yeah, exactly. We're just gonna sidestep the multiverse. We're gonna sidestep the totems.
If I were them, I would go. I was gonna do a throwback version.
Yeah.
And DC probably won't, but I think Marvel is likely to do that.
Yeah.
And I think Marvel should do that.
Right.
But the way you get around just repeating what was done in the first place is just take it back farther. Yeah. Because that came out in the 70s, so or early 87. I think it was like 76, 77.
Did they come around the same time as the Muhammad Ali crossover?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
the art's
real
similar.
Kind of like companion pieces almost.
So what I would do is, and Marvel has been doing tons of this lately, is I would just take it all the way back to like the earliest days of Spider-Man, like maybe just after the death of Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
And do a obviously earlier version of Superman. So you could either do something that looks like Superman in the 60s.
Yeah.
Or you could get really silly with it and just go, it's like a 1938 Superman meeting a 1963 or 4 Peter Parker.
That would actually be amazing. I'd be
fine with that.
No, yeah.
I kind of think that's what they should do.
Exactly.
But I don't think we have any sense yet of what the stories are going to be or what era they'll do or any of that. It's really just this is happening.
Yeah. Do I read that correctly? Is Rob Liefeld coming on board? The has a Pepe Larraz. I mean, he's usually pretty good. So, who knows what will end up being? But
yeah, I don't know what that thing with Rob Liefeld was about. But he's not a rumored creator.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's happening. I'm still waiting for an announcement for a big miniseries. It's really surprising they're not doing that yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they're staggering it this far, too, because you'd think once you had, like, Batman Deadpool, you'd at least have a couple others just in the wings, too, ready to go. At least it kind of seems like it's odd they're spacing them out as much to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They're really spreading them out.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, bear with me for a second.
Okay.
This is just and there are contenders, man.
Okay.
This is the dumbest thing I've heard in a while from Marvel.
I am seated and I'm glad I'm sitting down.
And then when you hear it in a weird way, it almost sounds inevitable. So you know the Spider-Man Wolverine team up book that's been going on.
Yes.
I don't know if that's any good at all.
Yeah.
This would suggest it's not.
Oh.
So we've got you gotta add ads on this stupid website. God bless America. Hold on. Give me a second. Everybody give me a minute here.
Well.
All right, here it comes.
Here it comes.
Marvel introduces Thwict. a villainous Wolverine Spider-Man combo. Thwicked. New villain Thwicked. Have Peter and Logan merged into one body. So we've amalgamized Wolverine and Spider-Man. And instead of calling him like Spiderine or something, we're taking the automatopoeia words and combining those and making that his name.
You know, I almost...
How is this not an April Fool's Day joke?
I almost respect how little the Marvel writers care now.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just call him Thwick. Like, we're going for it. This is either going to be the worst thing or the best thing, because none of the writers care anymore. They're just going on pure id. This is just going to... Whatever it is, if it's not just an experience, I don't want it to be just okay. I want it to either be the worst thing or the best thing.
You know, I'm saying all the time, and I'm not going to try to throw out great examples of this right now because I want to move on. But I talk all the time about stuff that brings back our favorite things in a more sophisticated way, and makes it what we thought we were looking at when we watched it, or read it in the first place, right? Things like the Brave and the Bold cartoon and stuff like that, that's what that guy thought he was watching, that showrunner, when he saw 60s Batman, for instance. Marvel, I just had this thought, is doing precisely the opposite lately.
Yeah.
Well, what they do is they go back to the 90s and they try to nostalgia bait us by, in their minds, perfectly recreating the goofiness and the mayhem of that period.
Right.
And they somehow make it stupider.
Yeah.
And it becomes this, like, massive self-parody thing.
Yeah.
Instead of going back to some of the weirdness and fun goofiness of the 90s and elevating it, which is what you should do if you're gonna do that kind of throwback.
Yeah, and you know, the one thing that I did kind of respect about the Spider-Man 94 comic, even though it didn't necessarily succeed.
It's not that good.
It's not that good. At least they were looking at that series and how it ended, and trying to bring in, like, okay, we've had obviously a lot more multiversal stuff with Spider-Man. At least they were trying to tie it together and trying to build off of everything that came before, everything that had come between them two.
Yeah.
At least they were trying. At least it was an attempt. Now, whether or not they were trying that hard is a different story, but I mean, there's stuff you can do, especially with, like, a lot of the really goofy stuff we all loved back in the 90s. And especially with, like, everything that's happened since, like, you can elevate it, and you have a staircase in a lot of ways to elevate it.
Well, when you're doing something like Spider-Man 94, and again, I don't think they're doing this well, but you're trying to, like, recreate that actual show as opposed to elevate it in any way. And I don't know why Marvel... I hadn't really thought about this before, but I hadn't put my finger on this exactly. It feels like a lot of what they're doing with, like, the house comedy style I'm not liking, and the mash up a couple of ideas that don't go together and all of that. It feels like they're kind of trying to recreate that period.
Yeah, I mean, I can see.
And it, like, not just throwback, but, like, actually do the, like, we were at our best in the 90s.
Yeah.
No, you weren't.
No,
that was like the one of the worst periods for Marvel.
You know,
overall, and I'm nostalgic for some things during that period, but, like,
absolutely.
a lot of it was really bad. And so this Thwicked idea is the kind of thing that Stan Lee would have put as a joke story in a What If comic.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what that is.
It's right next to the bit about what if Wonder Man was a woman and Power Man was a girl.
Yeah.
Before you had, like, the letter from the distinguished competition, the cease and desist.
And so they're trying to take those sorts of things and pass them off as serious.
Yeah, and, like... Again, too, there's a lot...
I don't know how you think you can compete with that.
And here's the thing, there's a lot of stuff that
I'm just saying that's not how you compete with the competition.
No, yeah, absolutely not. And like I guess the only real thinking behind it is okay, that's not what DC's doing, so let's go in the opposite direction. Yeah. So I mean, that's how I can see it. But also,
well, and to be fair, they're at a little bit of a disadvantage because when DC goes back to the 90s, there is a lot of better material there to build on.
It's like Rock of Ages and JLA too, you know?
Yeah, so what DC will do, or what they've been doing lately, I should say, since like they kind of screwed up Rebirth.
Yeah.
And they had a bit of a dark period. They've come back later and they've started building on stories from 25 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And kind of acted like it wasn't that long ago that it happened. Like like this Batgirl issue, when they bring Nyssa in, they've got these they've got footnotes calling back to issues of the original Batgirl series. Like this many years later is a direct sequel to that series.
Yeah.
And they can much more seriously and deliberately go back to the mid-late 90s, and it doesn't feel like a joke.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, there are ways that Marvel can do that.
Yeah.
As far as just building on story points, but they tend to do it in a real, and I'm not saying DC never retcons anything, as we've talked about.
Yeah. But we're just talking about Crisis, yeah.
But they tend to do it in a real retcon-y way.
Yeah.
And they tend to make things just sillier for no good reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's a soapbox I wanted to do with that. But yeah, Thwicked. It's nuts. Are we gonna are we gonna feel the need to own the first appearance of Thwicked in case he becomes a very important popular character?
You know, they need to have a little bit of like Nightcrawler in there as well. They can Bathwicked.
So spoilers for this Spider-Man Wolverine series, but are you aware that they have retconned this in that series that Wolverine killed Spider-Man's parents?
I did not know that.
That has happened. The revelation of Logan apparently killing Spidey's parents, and I heard about this, has driven them to war. However, that plotline will seemingly be resolved one way or another once Thwicked arrives on the scene. At the moment, fans know essentially nothing about this new villain apart from their amalgam nature, but if they have both Peter's spider sense and Logan's healing factor, they'll immediately be one of Marvel's most unbeatable evildoers. I don't understand the pronoun they there. He's almost certainly going to be a male character, but whatever.
You know, just thinking too.
This is just horrendous. What the hell is this thing?
Itsy Bitsy.
What is that? The name of this character is Itsy Bitsy? Oh, no. Like it? No. No, I don't.
I do have a question. Like, anybody that's a big Spider-Man fan, does anyone get really excited when Richard and Mary Parker show up?
At all?
At all, yeah. It's, like, I remember, like, even back in the 90s where it's like, look, Spider-Man's parents were super spies. Like, I don't care. Okay. But they're also, like, clones that turn into, like, rock monsters. Like, all right.
And I guarantee you, this won't be the last time we retcon what happened to them.
Yeah.
We'll find out that wasn't really Richard and Mary Parker that Wolverine murdered.
Exactly, yeah.
It was actually someone else.
Yeah.
But we'll keep it in the canon for like 5 years, and then somebody else will decide to do something with it.
As long as Trouble is still canon, then it makes everything okay.
Okay, anyway. It's weird crap we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to cover of the week. Are you excited for Phone Shaken?
For Phone Shaken.
That we'll do here in a bit?
Yep.
Chris?
Yes.
It's the same drill every Tuesday, man. We're always phone shaking.
Always shaking that phone.
All right, tonight we're gonna talk real briefly about Superman 205 by Brian Azzarello with art by Jim Lee. This was in the second part of a story that I'd never heard of that some people in our comments were familiar with, For Tomorrow. And and folks were going, oh God, it's that story. And then I read this and I was like, yeah, this isn't great.
No.
Talk about this, because honestly, I don't remember exactly what happened with this.
Yeah.
I remember. So a
priest is sad. That's what happens.
A priest is sad and throws a peach, and Superman catches the peach. I remember that.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I was so, and I like Azzarello typically.
Yeah.
I was so distracted by the oddness of the dialogue writing in this issue.
Yeah.
That I struggled to even follow what was happening. It felt like a lot of non sequiturs. Felt like a lot of, like, a person says a thing and then what's said right after that doesn't follow. And I was like, is Azzarello? Azzarello wrote Lex Luthor, Man of Steel. Like, what the hell is happening here?
Azzarello is kind of odd sometimes. Like,
I'm gonna remind myself what the hell happens in this.
I know, yeah. Not much. That's what happens.
Not much.
Yeah. He, like...
This man is eating a peach.
Man's eating a peach. Well, you know, Brian Azzarello can do really interesting things with dialogue a lot. And...
Oh yeah, there's this whole thing with Superman. Going to a foreign country and taking all the guns away.
Take all the guns, but like somebody can't get shot anyway or something.
Well, I didn't understand what was going on. This is why I'm not remembering the story, because this one very small piece of a larger story, because nothing gets done here. But like, somebody throws a stone at Superman.
Yeah.
And does that somehow change his mind about the whole thing? Is that what's supposed to be?
I mean, that's what. And then,
on?
like, his heat vision kicks in. He gets the red eyes.
Yeah.
And
it seems like he's, like, about to play God and then decides. Am I wrong? Is that what it is?
That whole thing was just so weird.
Because at first it seems like he's going to go all Superman 4 and get rid of the nuclear weapons.
Yeah, that's what it starts out as. And then he's like, nah, I'm good. I don't know.
And then I'm not sure exactly how this priest guy fits in.
Like, I don't know if this is something that would just make sense in context, but it just seems kind of...
Yeah, we didn't read the first part, to be fair. But what were you saying?
I was going to say, Brian Azzarello can do really interesting things with dialogue a lot, but there are times where he sometimes thinks he's a little bit more clever than he actually is with his dialogue.
Yeah, that's what I was having.
Yeah. And... I don't know. This seems like
it felt too writerly. It didn't feel like people talking.
Yeah,
I could see the writer on the page.
Right, exactly. I mean, he was trying to. It almost felt like he was trying to make a point at the expense of whatever point he was actually trying to make. That it just gets all.
Well, it felt like he was throwing Superman under the bus. Like, this felt like potentially the start of Injustice Superman.
Yeah.
And then in the blink of an eye, he goes, wait a minute. That's a bad idea. I shouldn't do that.
I know, yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to let it... I guess I needed the first issue, to be fair. We're always doing these in a vacuum.
Yeah.
This is why I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Like, we're checking in. I call this cover of the week because it's more about just taking a thing out of my collection and going, here's what I have as the cover, cool?
Yeah.
But I think we might as well read it real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
See what happens.
The cover's cool. It's Jim Lee, so it's gonna look nice, you know.
It lets you sample different periods every week and just remind you a little snapshot in history.
Yeah, and like, what year was this from? Was this from like 04 or something like that?
I think it was 03 or 04.
03 or 04, yeah. I'm a little like, I'm wondering too. When did What's So Funny About Truth or Justice America Way come out?
That was
I want to
shortly after this, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I want to say this felt like, I don't know. I want to say it felt like.
No, that's earlier. That's 01. That's 01.
01, yeah. Because the two things it reminded me of. It reminded me of like a worse version of that a little bit, but also it kind of reminded me of the some of the JMS Superman stuff too, like Grounded, where it's Superman just kind of
oh man, remember that?
Yeah.
That wasn't good.
No, yeah. Where it's just like Superman talking at people. It's like, you're not making quite as elegant of a point as you think you're making, but
yeah,
like the whole
but he at least didn't go try to like stop whole foreign nations from dealing with their own crap.
And then, like try to vaporize somebody because they threw a rock at him.
And, like, I realize we deal with that in Gun Superman movie, and the whole idea is he's just trying to stop people from getting killed.
But again, it's also one of those things that we've seen done better.
Yeah, no, of course.
We've seen done better. We've seen done smarter, and it's.
Well, because again, I just wasn't buying what pushed him to that.
Yeah.
And maybe the first issue of that run makes that a little clearer. But boy, I feel like it would have to be so extreme.
Yeah.
Like a Superman that late in his career,
just swoop it in and just.
Like, he would have to, on a weekly or daily basis, deal with kind of the God free will problem.
Yeah.
Which is, I could step in and stop people from harming each other, and from stopping people from ruining their lives, ruining their societies. But they won't learn anything if I do that. And then how is society ultimately sustainable? And I've talked about all this before, but I would be creating a culture of dependence, and what happens if I'm not there, and then what people learn is I'm always there to either help them or as a nuclear deterrent to stop them. You know, the Dr. Manhattan thing.
Right.
And Superman doesn't want to be that because, first of all, it's wrong. Second of all, it takes all the onus off of people from becoming better. From evolving intellectually, emotionally, becoming more enlightened. And third, he doesn't get to be a human being if he does that. And that's why he wouldn't or shouldn't go to that place. But you can see him at times wishing he could, or going, getting angry enough in the moment, going, man, I wish I could do that. But it's weird that he's pushed to that here.
And that's the thing too, because there's a lot of things you could do with the idea, and there's a lot of things that just with the setup and the premise and just that moment that you could build off of.
That's why I kind of buy it with Injustice.
And with like the Gun movie too, how there's things you could take and there's things you could build off of that idea, but this just kind of didn't. It's just Superman disarmed everybody. Somebody threw a rock. All right. I mean, there's a lot. The story just kind of seemed to believe it was smarter than it actually was, even though it wasn't giving us anything that A, we haven't seen before, and B, was kind of the bare minimum. And a lot of, I know we've talked before about how sometimes when you read a comic, you just want to see punching. And this and again too, like. And I just saw with the comments somebody was asking what's wrong with Superman stopping a war. Like, that's a story you could have. That's a story you could tell. But it's also a story that was in Superman 4. That you've seen in a billion different places, and you have to like approach it in a really with enough of like a careful hand to if you're gonna have that scene make a point.
There's of course a debate to be had there. But I think it's, first of all, somewhat case by case. I can see the places where it would make sense for him to step in and the places where it wouldn't. And secondly, it's that issue that, of course, is raised in the Gun movie, which is whatever he does, he's representing the country he was raised in. And so if he starts acting unilaterally, now he's the president. Now he's God. And so you want it to be easy in black and white, where if you have the ability to stop bad things from happening, you do that. And then the problem is you start siding with one side over the other, and they might both be awful. They might both have good points. It gets really complicated. And then where would you draw the line? Because there could be issues every single day, and you stop some, you don't stop others, you drive yourself insane, even if you're Superman, trying to stop every single possible thing. And again, then what happens when you develop this culture of dependence? What happens when you're not there anymore? Have people learned anything? I think it's different than like stopping fires, helping people in earthquakes.
And again, too, a lot of those ideas, a lot of those debates you can't have, and a lot of like those potential like storytelling opportunities, those concepts and themes just weren't here.
Right.
That there's a lot that
no, there's that, yeah.
And
but again, I don't want to talk too much more about that.
No, yeah, exactly.
Because that was in a vacuum, and I have no idea what's going on in that
exactly, issue. But I mean, overall, it looked nice, and again, like Brian Azzarello is somebody who, like, by and large, I do like a lot of his stuff, and when he's on, especially in terms of like his dialogue, he's on.
Yeah.
And he can do a lot of, I mean, he tends to do a lot of like plays on words, and I mean, I'm a sucker for a good pun. But so here where it's just kind of characters just kind of talking at other characters and not really having conversations. It just...
No, it's not effective at all.
No, it's not effective at all.
John Tye's Superman has gone to war to stop a despot before. And again, first of all, I'll say there's different stories with different kinds of contexts.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about a more nuanced, modern... like more or less what should Superman do in like the world we live in kind of story, which is more how we typically tend to play it now. You got to handle it more with kid gloms. When you're dealing with, and like there's lots of precedent for, we've had 80 years, 90 years of Superman. So I don't think you can just go, well, there's precedent, so there's no argument to be had. Of course he should go and do that.
Right.
I think that's I think that's always a debate to be had.
Yeah. And but again, too, if there's precedent,
but
that means...
But real quick, what I was going to say is, if we're talking about like a Golden or a Silver Age story, there is very often like an intended kind of catharsis there, where it isn't... you're not supposed to think as much about it, and it's just... Superman is the crusader that goes and does the stuff we wish that we could do. And the icon to live up to, and everybody believes him, and everybody buys him, and he never does anything wrong. And so, like, that Superman in a... and you also have to think about the world that you're in when that story is told. So there's a difference between Superman or Captain America in a World War II comic go and punch out Hitler... versus what that would mean now. You know what I mean? Like what's the audience? Is it more for kids? Is it sometimes also for adults? But it's just again the catharsis. We just want to put ourselves in that. I don't know. It's just we tend to try to make it more of a traditional narrative now.
And again, too, just...
And he might be talking about something more recent than that. But even then, I think there's always the argument. There's always the other side of it. In exactly the same way as... And I'm hesitating because I don't want to get... I never want to get too political on these shows. But these stories are about heavy political things, so you have to go there to some degree. In exactly... You have to ask that question in exactly the same way that you have to ask how involved should the United States get in various foreign conflicts, because you destabilize an area, and yes, maybe you stopped a horrible despot, but if you don't put anything in its place, and like, you know, should you try to westernize every area and make it the republic or the democracy that you have, and you feel like that's all real sticky. And so should Superman do that? Because Superman's not even a government. So Superman goes in and stops the evil despot. Maybe he tries to get the guy to draw the line and goes, look, if you invade this country, I will always stop you, but I won't like take away your presidency or your what's what I'm looking for, or your dictatorship.
Yeah.
Maybe he could sort of do that.
Right.
But if he just flat out takes a guy out,
yeah.
How much worse is that area going to be in for having no leadership? What maybe it'll be better.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
often what happens is somebody even worse takes over,
Yeah,
or like and this is this obviously isn't an excuse for horrible dictatorships.
No,
it's just these situations are very complicated.
Yeah, no, exactly. And especially handling that in like a Superman story, especially like a modern Superman story where you are playing towards like a little bit of an older audience, a little bit more possibly politically aware audience too. I mean,
and it's impossible to tell that story without it looking like, even if you don't mean it to, an allegory for whatever two city-states everybody's talking about.
Exactly,
right now.
yeah.
So like everybody with the gun movie was like, this is, or everybody. Yeah. So, some people were complaining that it was like too obvious of an allegory for Israel-Palestine, and then other people were saying it was too obvious of an allegory for other things.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing too with that. It's knowing you have to be engaged with it, and you have to kind of know where, how it's going to be perceived. So it's always going to be a touchy situation. It's always going to be a complicated situation. It's always going to be taken in ways you probably didn't expect it to.
Yeah.
So,
and that's why Superman is, and I like telling realistic Superman stories.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And he's a more interesting protagonist when you deal with those kinds of internal conflicts as opposed to external conflicts. You'd be hard pressed not to go mad trying to decide how far to take your power. If you're Superman, but that's why he's one of those characters that maybe the character that most works better as an icon than and as a symbol than he does as a real believable character in the world at all, like we live in.
Right. So I mean, it's like anything too, because I know that was part of the reason why.
Because if he really existed, he would be even more polarizing than he was in the gun.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
He would be extremely polarizing.
Yeah, a guy comes down, it's like you can't kill him. He could also move at the speed of light. How would that not be terrifying to people?
In fact, this is how cynical I am. We are so politically divided that like one side of the aisle would claim him, the other side would hate him. I don't even know which way that would go. Right. I don't even want to get into that.
No, yeah.
But like, Superman would be a political football.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
like absolutely.
Yeah. So again, too, but I know that's part of the going back to like Superman as an icon more than like a character in the real world. I know that was part of the reason why in All-Star they had Superman lose his vulnerability to kryptonite. It's like, nope, we are not going to deal with Superman who could beat up who. We are going to focus on internal conflicts. We're going to focus on Superman as the character, his wants, his fears, stuff like that. I mean, it's funny because when you hear about writers complain about how impossible it is to write a Superman story, you always hear the same things.
Right.
Who's going to be him? Who's going to be, what's the threat to Superman? And it's like, I mean, try writing a character, dude. That's the, but,
yeah, exactly. John Ty, like, if I'm writing a Superman story, I would start with, like, the most simple kind of situation and just work my way out from there. Yeah. Clark Kent goes and gets his groceries in the morning.
Yeah.
Go. Like, exactly. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
John Ty, you guys should read Philip Kennedy Johnson's Action Comics World Saga. So, how recent is that? If it's Philip Kennedy Johnson, it's probably pretty recent.
I want to say it's pretty... I wanted to say it's like right kind of after Rebirth offhand. I could be wrong. I'm terrible with dates.
Yeah, he says Superman makes an uprising against a despot in that story, and then Braden says that story's set in space, and therefore isn't applicable. I mean, I think it's somewhat applicable, but it is easier to get away with doing that on another planet.
It's more disconnected,
Absolutely.
It's more,
And John Ty says, well, and partly because he's not representing a city-state anymore.
No,
like maybe the planet, but it is different. John Ty, I disagree because I love the social crusader aspects of the character over the icon status. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying that he's easier, especially in this day and age,
Yeah.
to swallow as a symbol than he would be as a real life character.
And
Because I'm with you, like, that can be fun and interesting, but it's hard to be realistic without kind of throwing him under the bus in some way.
Yeah.
I think.
And I don't think we're saying that the social crusader aspect's a bad thing too, because that's been baked in from like the 30s.
Right.
And it's just one of those that you have to.
But the more powerful you make him, because the thing is, when he started,
he was just a guy that punched people and jumped.
He couldn't take out the big despots all by himself.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot easier. It'd be easier to take that character and throw him in a foreign conflict and it not feel as. There's still some of the same moral questions.
Yeah.
But there's not as much weight on it, and so you don't have to worry about as big of implications.
Yeah.
Wait, let's go ahead and shake the phone.
All right, time to shake the phone.
We could talk about this all night.
Yeah.
And we got to get to our review here in a little bit. So,
all right, see what's.
And I totally forgot. I was going to let the audience help us pick with this. But we'll do it next time.
Okay, yeah.
We'll flip the phone some and then give it to Patreon and let them pick the cover.
Nice.
I will do it this time because I think you did it last time.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Our cover for next time. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna do something else. How many extra flips do I get?
It's your show. You flip as much as you like.
I appreciate that. Because that's well.
I believe this is Comic Book Late Night Unlimited, so
Yeah. Do we want to have to do a Spider-Gwen book from 17?
Look, I don't dislike Spider-Gwen, even if some of her later books
I'm gonna
aren't.
flip it one more time. Here we go. Okay, still ending up with slightly more recent things, but that's all right. I just wish I'd gotten a little bit of a later issue with this because I haven't read this whole series. But I ended up with here. I'll go ahead and pull this up.
Yeah.
I flipped it 3 times. I'm gonna stop on my 3rd time.
There we go.
Everybody bear with me a second while I pull this cover up. So we got Superman Wonder Woman number 8 from 14. This is Charles Soule with Tony Daniel art.
That's not too bad.
And this was a series I actually liked quite a bit. Some people didn't like the Superman Wonder Woman romance. I thought it actually worked really well. This Doomed thing was kind of ridiculous. It was pretty silly. Do you know about this? This was Superman getting this weird illness that turns him into Doomsday.
Oh, I don't even remember that, no.
And this is part 2 of that, so we have to do another part 2.
Yeah.
So this is part 2 of that story, Chris. But that's what we're going to do next time.
By the way, you see that some company just ripped off, I think it was like I don't know if it was like a crypto company, ripped off the DC Peel label. Just like took a whole cloth.
Oh, crazy.
I'll have to pull it up.
Really?
Too. Yeah. Like the worst DC logo. Somebody thought, no one's using this. I guess we can.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I have to...
Well, then, like I kept complaining about a couple weeks ago, IDW kind of took their cues for their new logo from that.
Apparently it is a Pakistani-based software company.
Why are you derailing us here, Chris?
Sorry.
What the hell?
I just had to show you.
Are you serious?
Yep.
I don't know if you guys can see this on this phone. Are you serious? No, they could not have come up with that on their own.
Yeah.
Because the
so
peel
close.
is in the same place.
I know. Yeah.
That's really dumb.
Got some assets.
Yeah. So this thing. Sorry. So this thing is called DevSynx.
DevSynx.
CYNX. So it's still DC, and so it's just as confusing as it was with DC because you still can't exactly tell what the letters are. Right off.
I mean, they put some like circuitry in the C too.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's like. Yeah, no, it's basically...
You can't even say legally distinct at that point.
It is about...
And if DC has... the thing is, they've probably let the copyright expire on that, and so
Probably,
another
yeah.
company probably would be allowed to do that at this
Yeah,
point. But it is pretty weird to see that.
It's the Vanilla Ice Ice Baby versus Queen's Under Pressure debate. It's like, no, that little extra ting right at the end, different song.
Yeah, but there's no arguing that this was a direct, straight up rip.
Oh yeah, no,
That I'm sure was too.
yeah, just like Ice
This
Baby
even
and Under
more
Pressure.
clearly, definitely was. Though.
Yeah.
That's so funny. All right.
All right.
Chris, do we have anything else to do besides our review now?
I think
we
good.
just got to get into that at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so last week, the request for review, I think it was Braden, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
He's still here, I think. He can tell us if it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was him.
Yeah.
But anyway, he asked us to tackle the first arc of Wilson's Poison Ivy, which is into like 37 issues now.
Yeah.
An oddly long run for this character and this premise.
Yeah.
With art by...
Oops.
There we go.
Yep.
With art by Takara. I don't know what the first name is. There, hold on.
Mauricio Takara.
Oh, Mauricio Takara. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was working my way up there.
Well,
there's so many credits.
Well, they put like all like the variant cover artists there too. It's like, who's doing what in this book?
Yeah. Give us a quick rundown, plot synopsis for this, Chris.
So basically, Poison Ivy is traveling around the country. She's got
We'll do minor spoilers.
Yeah.
I think the last couple of these we've gone on too long.
Yeah.
Let's try to keep these a little briefer than we have been, if we can. But just give us a setup for what happens.
Was it the Lamea pathogen that she's the parasite that she's got?
I forget what it's called.
Yeah, whatever it is. But it's Poison Ivy just going around the country, and she's going to. Apparently, the world's gonna burn. The Philharmonic man's chasing her. I think that might be a big spoiler.
That's all right.
It's all right.
She Chris is great at this.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So, yeah, she thinks that the world is on the brink, that humanity, the typical Poison Ivy thing, that she's an eco-terrorist, and we're destroying the planet, and so... she wants to save the planet by destroying humanity,
including herself.
The twist
too.
this time is that it's a kamikaze thing. She's kind of acting as a suicide bomber of sorts. Where she's going around with. So she is dying in the first place.
Yes.
So a little convenient for her to go. I'm gonna kill myself too when she's already dying.
Yeah.
But she's like, I'm gonna go take out like genocidal plot. I'm gonna take out all of humanity in order to save the Earth.
Yeah.
And her character arc is
her connecting with actual people too. It's like, okay, it's gonna suck when you die because you're nice.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is she's kind of finding a connection to humanity in a way, although she keeps talking about how there are individuals that she likes and are decent enough, but humanity, society on the whole is a problem.
Right.
And so she can't think of any other way to deal with it but take them all out. And then there's the question of whether she sees this as real justice or if she's just angry and it's just vengeance.
Right.
One thing I do appreciate that Wilson does with this was a very mixed bag for me. One thing I did really appreciate that she does is she's constantly checking back in with with Poison Ivy as a sociopath, and as a villain,
right?
It's never. There are places where I think personally that the character might be a little bit romanticized. I do feel that way about it, and there are places, particularly at the end, where I can't decide just how much the writer sympathizes with the character and how evil she's still supposed to be. But it's she's at least a very extreme personality. That is too far gone to ever be completely redeemed. You know what this reminded me of?
What's that?
Cullen Bunn's Magneto.
Ooh, I could see
if you've ever read that.
Yeah, I did a long time ago, too.
Because that is Bunn taking Magneto on if memory serves, kind of a road trip of sorts, like this is. Brayden says the road trip thing is only 12 issues, and then she does something else with it in this book. And of course, you wouldn't keep that for 37 issues. I would figure at some point that would have to change.
Have to be like, all right, they gotta stay in one spot for so long.
But this felt like a riff on that Magneto thing, where it's like it's attempting to separate the idea versus anti-hero. This feels like it's getting a little bit closer to that anti-hero place by the end. But only in the arc, and I don't know, this is a bit of a spoiler too, but I guess the arc is to get her away from full-on genocide.
Yeah.
Where she's still gonna murder some folks, but she's downgraded from genocidal maniac to more traditional Poison Ivy, just murdering the specific like company moguls and people that she thinks are destroying the environment.
Basically, not Jeff Bezos. The whole Amazon scene. It wasn't really Amazon. Legally distinct.
Legally distinct Amazon.
But yeah, I mean,
but real quick, what I'm saying with the Magneto thing is it's like that, where it's a extreme character out for revenge that you can sort of, I think, more with Magneto than with Poison Ivy, to be fair, but where you can see where the trauma starts, and you can sympathize to some degree with the initial motivation, and then we're just too insane and radical about it.
And I remember with the Magneto book that there were a lot of, and the one thing with it's been a long time since I've read that miniseries too. I do remember. I think this is the
Magneto book. That was a monthly. That went on for quite a while. That's not a miniseries.
Oh no, I say like that's how long ago. I can't remember if it was a monthly or two. But I do remember that also there was a lot of really strong art pieces in that too, where you had that one scene with like the guy he killed with all like the street lights and all like the metal beams just straight down his throat. I remember that. That's also another thing that kind of reminded me of, or this book kind of reminded me of too, because there's a lot of cool murder.
It's real violent.
It's real violent. Yeah, there's a lot of
cool creative.
Like whenever somebody dies, they turn into a garden.
They
turn into like one of the biggest highlights of this book for me was the art.
Like, me too.
How it would go.
And panel layouts are cool.
Panel layouts are cool too. Whenever like a monster would show up, and how this book could
I think the best way I could describe the violent panels that you're talking about is like elegantly grotesque.
That's perfect. Yeah, that is it. Yeah.
Where like it's both beautiful and horrifyingly shocking at the same time.
It's like this. I mean, like some of the cops that she kills right at the beginning. The again, like the manager of the factory, the not Amazon factory, how they're being ripped apart. They are like falling apart getting ripped apart from the inside. But all these beautiful colors, nice bouquet that springs from their intestines. So that was kind of like the really strong part of this for me too. And again, too, they do. And I'm not sure if they really balance like the hero versus anti-hero sides as well as they could have. But
I'm conflicted about that.
I do appreciate, and without getting like too spoilery towards the end, when you do kind of see where that all starts, especially with Jason Woodrow, her origins, the Floronic Man, and also kind of the fact that they do make him as. I mean, a lot of it, too, is from inside her own head, inside her own psyche, so I know a lot of it was exaggerated, just...
That's a good point.
Because they tried to make Jason Woodrow as gross as humanly possible, where he's, like, got his tongue hanging out, and he's, like, drooling over her while she's tied up. So, I mean, it was effective. It was effective, even if it was over the top, but it felt like there's a reason it was over the top, too. And again, whether or not it necessarily worked as well as it could have, I at least saw what she was going for too, and that's what Wilson was going for. And like I wouldn't say I disliked the book, because I did like the book, even if it kind of couldn't quite make up its mind whether or not she was an anti-hero or a sympathetic villain. And a lot of times too, it's hard to find that line, hard to find that balance.
I think the writing is quite good.
Yeah.
I think the art is fantastic. I don't know how I feel about it by the end.
Yeah.
I think it's structured really well. I think
Yeah.
it's paced really well. I think it's got a clear beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said that this was John Ty. This is supposed to be a miniseries initially.
Yeah.
You can tell like it's tight.
Yeah.
It's real tightly plotted.
Yeah. If this ended after issue 6, it would have been a satisfying story. And that's not to say that the rest of it isn't satisfying, because I haven't read past issue 6. But at least as far as a narrative goes, like, this holds together extremely well, too. So...
But yeah, like, at the same time, I don't mean to talk out of both sides of my face.
Yeah.
Like, at the same time as I'm saying, I like that we keep talking about her as a villain.
Yeah.
Like, the book's not pretending like she's a good person or heroic or anything.
Right. Yeah.
But I was uncomfortable in places where it's still sort of, I don't want to say it reads that way, but it still sort of reads like the book wants me to sympathize more with her than I am sympathizing with her. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does a little bit too. And especially like...
Again, romanticizing it a little bit. I think some of it might just depend on how... like extremely you feel about some of the things she feels strongly about, if that makes any sense.
It does, yeah.
And I don't mean to talk too much in vagaries, but what I mean is, if you feel as strongly about some of the big environmental issues she does, it might read cathartic to you when she does some of her murders and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But there were places where I just felt like the book was a little more on her side than I was.
Right. And I guess that's like the risk when you have a book about a villain, where it's hard to... You want to tell from their perspective, but at what point does it stop becoming a book about a villain's motivations?
Yeah, because the protagonist doesn't have to be a hero.
Exactly, yeah.
Of course, she is the protagonist.
Yeah. And I will say there was one part too that I did kind of like, where she's like, yeah, people think I'm a vegan. It's like, no, this vegan kale displays me. That was great, yeah.
Well, she was talking about like all the ways that making vegan things destroys the environment.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of like a nice little touch.
I think maybe some of the problem is, and I'll try not to spoil too much,
Yeah.
so I will mention a thing without the context of it,
Yes.
just so you know what I'm talking about. There's some stuff that gets on the nose enough that I resisted it, and that, again, it felt like the writer was maybe more with this character than I was. I guess I'll say it like that.
You're right.
When we get to the eat the rich bit.
Oh yeah, where she like literally eats the
yeah, that was a bridge too far for me.
Right.
I don't know.
It's fair. That was pretty on the nose. But again, too, you do kind of when you have a character who's a villain, and you are kind of looking at it, and it's like, okay, maybe they do.
That's a tough line.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to say like, okay, maybe they might have a little bit of a point, but at one point it's like, okay, but where? How much of a point do they have?
And in what way am I supposed to be enjoying this? Like,
right.
there are places where I don't mean to repeat myself, but where I felt like what I was looking at should be disturbing.
Yes.
And where I'm not sure if the book finds it disturbing.
Right.
That's where I was with it.
Yeah, and that's like the thing too, where it's hard.
Because she can have whatever point of view you want to give her, and it can be completely out to lunch. It can be devoid of divorced from reality. Now the problem is, and I don't think she is, if you're just a straight up nutso psychopath, after a while, it's no fun to read about because she can just do anything you want her to do. And this is a character that is extreme but has a perspective.
Yeah. And when you're doing like a protagonist, you want them to at least be a little...
Again, in that way, it is that Magneto thing where it's misguided.
Yeah.
And you can see it, but you wouldn't condone any of this.
No, and that's like the one thing too, is you want to at least sympathize with your protagonist a little bit. You still want to kind of root for them a little bit. Then it's like, okay, this character's still gonna do a genocide. Be like, hey, this is a nice person. It's too bad I'm murdering you as we speak with this virus.
So I don't want to ever find myself rooting for this character, but I want to feel like I get where she's coming from, and where I see those sparks of humanity. And here's the thing. With some of the people she befriends, I can kind of see it. The lady with the garden that she puts the big tree in, I liked that stuff. That was cute. That was nice. But and I liked that you at the end you get this kind of flash to all the people that she's met that makes her rethink saving humanity. So or not destroying them all. So I like that. But here's the couple of big reservations I had. First of all, and I guess I'll throw out the big one where I go, here's a thing that's supposed to make her seem more human to me that I'm not buying. And I've never liked this. You know what I'm gonna say?
What is it?
The Harley Quinn relationship.
You're not a big Harley guy. I can't Harley boys. I mean,
I can't deal with it.
Right.
Well, because part of it is just my own personal bias. I don't like that character anymore. I don't like the way DC does that character.
That's entirely fair,
I don't see what Poison Ivy sees in her.
Yeah.
I don't like her.
Yeah,
and so when the whole thing, especially toward the end, turns into again, she's made these connections with some other people.
Yeah.
But she really doubles down on the only person I care about is you, and I'm like, why? And maybe if I'd read some of the stuff that she's talking about before this, I would appreciate it more. But I kind of doubt it. I really don't think that I would.
And I will say too that there are, there's both extremes. That there are people who are, a lot of the stuff DC's done with Harley has been not great. But so you do have folks who are kind of tired of that relationship. But on the other hand, you have the folks who are so deep with that relationship.
That's part of the reason to make the thing, I guess.
Well, also too,
and that's where this just isn't for me.
Yeah. And I will say too that I know we've had to say this.
I miss Gotham City Sirens.
Yeah,
I missed the way that trio was characterized back then.
Right.
I feel like we've gotten much too far away from that.
We kind of peaked with Gotham City Sirens too. That's
what I think.
But I know too that there are people who, again, I know we've said this before, and I know it's one of those things when you're dealing with any sort of public, any sort of public forum, especially in comics in particular. Don't send death threats to people, because it was the Harley Quinn book where I guess it was where they broke them up. It was Stephanie Phillips wrote it, and she's done a lot more Marvel stuff. She got death threats because she didn't really break up the characters, but it was Ivy's going to her new book, so we have to write her out. So she would get all sorts of weird tweets, and it's I'm not even, why? So,
people are insane. I don't know.
People are insane. That's the unfortunate fact. But
real quick, so there's that, and then the other big reservation I had with this, not so much about Poison Ivy's character, but it's just there is some, in my mind, and not everybody's going to agree with this. This is just the experience I had with it. There are a number of places where we're going for really easy stereotypes.
Right. And I know too how with the Dr. Woodrow stuff, I know that's a lot of her psyche, but they were kind of laying on pretty thick with how creepy he was.
There's that, and then just we've all seen the creepy sexually harassing boss.
Right, yeah.
There's nothing to that guy.
Right.
And then there's a couple of places with guys massively hitting on her.
Yeah.
And that happens. But you'd think from reading this that every guy she ever meets is like that. It's like every person that she meets that's not a chick is doing that.
And I will say, I know this kind of goes back to what you're saying too, where you have a character who is supposed to be a villain and again is like actively committing genocide. I get wanting to have like moments of catharsis too, but it also depends. Like, okay, this is a character who is again actively committing genocide. How much of the catharsis do we want to have, and how much do we really?
Well, what I'm talking about is just being kind of contrived.
Yeah, and I love it too. You can tell they're setting it up just to base.
And I don't know that it means to be cynical, but some of it reads that way to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So I know, like, I know a lot of it too is they are setting it up. They are setting up for almost the easy wins too, because again, like, not Amazon. You want to have just look at the page too, where they showed like the layers of the
yeah.
Again, like the art is just fantastic too, especially when you start having like the bright colors. I didn't see who the colorist was for this, but just how it goes from a lot of the more restrained stuff, the more mundane stuff, to like the full on like nature, Feywild, Swamp Thing green too, is just one of my favorite parts of the book, just visually. So, again, yeah, there were a lot of things that they kind of set up just for like the easy pops, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You see that, you're like, I know exactly where this is going.
Yeah. I will say that like the part where she's like, hey, you're going to do this because you've got 10 minutes left to live. You better make it count.
Yeah.
One scene, though, that I did think was a little unintentionally funny is, she meets up with a coworker. They have sex later on. And then the ghost of Harley is watching the whole time.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
It's like, yeah, I don't think even like hallucination Harley would not just be sitting there patiently. I love the monster designs too, especially when you start seeing like the little bits and you're not even quite sure if they're real. So
well, and that thing with that coworker that that whole section just read real, like I said, contrived soap opera to me.
Right.
And I get that like we're in comics, and so it's like there's lots of good melodrama and good soap opera in comics.
Yeah.
But you got to be consistent with the kind of story you're writing.
Right.
And just within the internal logic we had here, I was, like I said, I already found it kind of irritating how just like really stereotypical that guy was.
Yeah.
With no real twist. I guess the attempt on some kind of a spin where you could sort of see where he was coming from.
Yeah,
was he's got like a whole monologue. I guess it's about just like company stress or something.
Yeah, and like I know.
So I mean, I guess at least you have that.
Yeah.
But real quick, what I was gonna say is. Yeah, that and then compounding that when she takes him out, and then the coworker is glad to be rid of that guy and didn't think that was at all possible.
Yeah,
and just all of a sudden just makes out with Poison Ivy. Yeah. I didn't buy that at all. This is out of nowhere.
Right. Well, I think the answer is it's Poison Ivy. If you could make out with Poison Ivy, I mean, let's.
Oh, okay, I guess.
But yeah,
I'm just gonna say though, she gets really lucky being like bisexual or full-on lesbian now. I don't even know.
Right.
She just finds lesbians everywhere. They're just everywhere. It seems a little easy to me that this woman like just suddenly starts making out with her.
She has the most refined gaydar you have ever met in your entire
wouldn't have
life.
any idea what her proclivities are. Just suddenly starts making out with her. I don't know. Like that's not the reality I live in.
I think the answer is we're not Poison Ivy, too.
Uma
Thurman never played either of us in a movie.
I can't take that seriously. That's so funny to me. That's so unintentionally hilarious to me. I don't know.
So, but yeah, and the one thing I did, and I think even with that too, where it has monologue at the beginning, where it was kind of, they were laying out super thick, and the one, especially the monologue too, where he's saying like, if you have to pee, you have to pee in a bottle. You're like, they want us to know this is Amazon. They want us to know this is Amazon.
That too. But anyway, no, I thought it was a better book to look at than it was to read. But that's not fair. It's not a terrible story.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to just like preferences here and there, and I think at the end of the day, it kind of comes down to how you feel about like the Harley relationship, and I think it kind of comes down to just little bits, and again too, like I've never really had like one of those crappy bosses that'll like rub your back, benefits of being a dude in the office sometimes. So I mean, I'm sure if somebody who's been through that experience, that might read a little bit different to them.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah,
but also I've read that 6 billion times.
Yeah,
and it's hard to articulate when it's believable and when it's not.
Yeah. But I mean. But again, to the one benefit it does have.
And also, let me say, the reason stuff like that jumps out at me, I don't mean to harp on it.
No, you're good. Yeah.
But the reason stuff like that jumps out at me is because the writing overall is better than that.
Yeah.
So when it goes there, it feels lazy.
Yeah, when it gets...
That's how I feel about it.
And especially when, again, like, G. Willow Wilson wrote this. She's done... she's done a lot of, like, really great stuff, too. And... I know you said like her Black Cat book was just kind of
it was all right.
It was all right.
Yeah. I haven't read past first issue.
Yeah. And she's written,
she's, to be fair, she's also saddled with that current Spider-Man stuff in that.
Yeah, so
but I liked it okay.
Yeah.
I'm reading too much, so I didn't like it enough to keep going with it.
Right.
If the second cover had been as Dynamite as the first, I would have bought it.
That's fair.
That was part of it.
So yeah. But yeah, we know that she could tell a story, that she could, write the hell of a book. And so yeah, when you do see something that's that, on the nose.
I just thought it was a little better than that.
Yeah.
But I ended up, because I was honestly not excited about looking at this book. I had no intention of reading this.
Yeah.
And her characterization for Poison Ivy is interesting and layered enough, and it wasn't a chore to read about her.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the biggest thing I can give it besides the art. It was a good fluid read, and it reads quick.
Right. So yeah, like I was able to breeze through this too, and part of it was again because it's such a visual book that you could honestly just tell everything going on, and that it's so striking, especially with a lot of the monster designs too, and a lot of just the panel layouts. Like I forgot that you had like these weird viney like watercolor splashes on the end of this panel too. And then when you have like the weird hallucination Batman show up too.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah,
because at first he's just saying all kinds of weird out of character things for Batman.
Yeah.
And then when things get really serious and she needs a guide, he suddenly starts sounding like Batman.
Yeah. So I mean that's kind of interesting too, where it's a lot of it is playing with, and at least that's what I got to. A lot of it's playing with Ivy's mental health and a lot of her mental stability, and like showing her again, like even showing her like fade in and out of reality while she's driving a lot of time.
Yeah, that's true. No, you're right. She's got kind of a tenuous grasp on reality through the thing, and part of that's because of the spores.
Yeah. So like I think
it's not terrible.
It's not terrible. Yeah, no, I definitely recommend checking it out too. Just know that there's bits where it can get a little on the nose, and it's like, all right, just remember this is a character committing genocide.
Yeah.
But
and if you don't like the Harley Quinn thing, it'll be a notch down for you, because I will say I had that a bit.
Yeah. And I think that's like the one thing too, how that's so much like a part of both characters now that...
Well, and that's changed since I was reading current.
Yeah.
So, like, I knew about it, but I've not really experienced it all that much.
Yeah, and like sometimes that can and some writers handle it better than others. I know there was like the Tom King book that I liked the twist more than I liked the actual way it was written too, where like Ivy like took control of the city and put everybody in like cocoons or whatever, and it's like, oh, we need to wake up, we need to wake everyone up. Like, no, we just need to wake up Ivy. She'll talk her down. It's like, all right, I see where you're going, but like, who's Harley going to talk down? How is Harley going to be the voice of reason?
Oh, real quick, another thing that I thought was odd to that point was the people that I like just saw her as a regular person and the people that could tell that she was like a plant lady.
Yeah.
I thought that was odd, and that was the thing that seemed kind of contrived, where if we wanted her to get real close and intimate with someone, they just ignored the fact that she had like
vines growing out of her.
Yeah. And I realized that later on there's more of it happening because of the spores.
Yeah.
But there's a place where she gets a gash. She's got like a gash in her arm or something.
Oh, yeah.
And she's bleeding green.
Yeah.
And the woman she's talking to does not notice the color of the blood.
And she's like, nah.
I thought that was very strange.
Yeah, she's like, nah, I just cut myself. I was gardening, I just cut myself.
Yeah, she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I would be looking at her and be like, you're not human.
A lot of like the civilians in this book are way too chill about there being a plant monster in their neighborhood.
Yeah, well, and with some of the, I mean, she's got like vines on her face.
Yeah.
I needed somebody to like ask if they were tattoos or something.
Yeah. I mean,
because the thing is, on the page, they look flatter than they probably do in real life.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell if she was maybe passing them that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had that thought, but I kept thinking, like, is she passing them as tattoos?
Well,
like, why is nobody commenting on the weird stuff on her face?
And they showed like the scenes of her in the shower where she's having to like pull off the actual spores on her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of it should have been way more noticeable than it was presented. There was the kid too who was like, "Are you okay?" Like who was like, "No, you're not a monster at all."
That was way later, though.
That was way later. Yeah, that was
like, yeah.
I will say that one of the bit I did like was the poet that showed up in the first. I think it was the second. Is either the first or the whenever they're at the diner.
Oh yeah.
The poet who was like, "Yeah, I'm just I've been with my car, I've been making money."
Yeah.
And then like the cops come in, they're looking for her.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. So I mean,
that was a fun bit.
There were a lot of fun bits in this, a lot of fun moments in it too. So
it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, definitely check it out too. Again, if you're not somebody who's into the Harley Ivy relationship, you probably won't like or get that. But
I think Chris liked it more than I did.
Yeah, I think so.
this is not a big recommend from me, but like I had to read it and I liked it more than I thought I would. I will say that.
And it is flawed.
Probably not enough to read any more of it.
Yeah,
personally, right. I can see you going on. I think I'm good.
Yeah,
like I don't think I would need to read any more of this. But
yeah. But like I said, I mean, it is flawed. There are bits that could have been better. Could have been a little bit well smoothed out. But overall, I don't think you'll have a bad time reading it. It's not bewildering like stuff we've read for this show before.
Yeah, no, that's true. Well, I think that's everything for tonight. Chris, we got to decide what we're reviewing next time because we did not have a super chat tonight. And that means that we're going to have to go to either Eddie Brock Carnage or Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. We were talking about maybe doing that.
I think, personally speaking, if I had to pick, I'm intrigued by Falling in Love on the Path to Hell.
Okay, I think that's what we're gonna go with.
I think so. Yeah, well,
in a shocking twist.
Yeah, shocking twist.
I didn't even hear about this until tonight.
Yeah,
but that synopsis sounded great.
It did, yeah.
Like the samurai thing, I'm like, I'm in. That sounds awesome.
Well, especially considering like the terrible copy we've read for like some books on this show.
Yeah, that's true. But we've read good copy for things that I'm like, that's not my thing.
Yeah, exactly.
This sounds very interesting.
It does, yeah.
And we've so far actually done nothing that doesn't technically qualify for superhero. Have you thought about that? Because even
true.
Geiger is still basically
Geiger's
a superhero
basically
book.
a superhero
That's
book.
the closest thing to non-superhero we've done so far.
Yeah,
but everything else, like obviously Radiant Black is. I can't think of anything else that's. Is there?
The closest I can get, the closest I can think of.
Because we've done a million absolute things.
Yeah. I mean, you could maybe make a case for Void Rivals, maybe-ish.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It's still
a
little bit that. You're right. Void Rivals is the least the superhero just because I don't think of Transformers as superheroes and that kind of thing, even though there's a lot of DNA baked in and Marvel did them in the first place.
And even then, it's like a weird like sci-fi side story to whatever, whoever's happening on Cybertron.
Yeah, you're right. Like that specific story is even less superhero than Transformers or even G.I. Joe would be.
Yeah, so it's basically just like
You're right, but everything else we've done.
Right. Pretty superhero, yeah.
But that's because half of it's been absolute.
Yeah.
And we did Ultimate Avengers that one time.
Avengers too. One day we're just gonna be like, all right, we're just gonna do like an OGN here. We're just gonna do like a prestige. Break out like Art Spiegel's mouse for this too.
No,
we're not.
That's what we have Comic Vault for.
That's true. Yeah,
I can bring you in for one of those at some point.
Yeah.
This show's all about current. Anyway, well, thanks a lot for watching, guys. We sure
everyone.
appreciate it, and we will see you again next Tuesday night. We'll have Austin, and we'll have a bunch of books to review.
Yes.
Next week will be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
But I hope you enjoyed it. We appreciate you watching. I live with a few people, and after the fact. We'll see you next time. I was Captain Logan, and this was Chris.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.